And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Here we are at the Intel Extreme Masters World Championships. Freak, it's going to be Moscow 5 versus Counter Logic Gaming. This is going to be awesome.
This is going to be awesome. Absolutely. These guys have not met each other on LAN yet. CLG did not qualify for IEM Kiev, where we saw Moscow 5 take the entire tournament, dropping only one map, and they're still on pace, honestly. They've not lost a map yet the entire tournament so far. Took their group 5-0. CLG went 4-1 in their group, only losing to Team Dignitas. So both these teams have kind of a lot to prove right now, and from what I understand, there's been a bit of smack talk, at least on CLG's end, saying, oh no, we got these Moscow 5 guys figured out. We totally got this, no problem. And there's all sorts of facts that can kind of back that up on either end, actually. Yeah. For example, Big Fat LP has died less than once per game.
Yeah, he mentioned it in earlier on in the little intermission bit. He's like, I'm going for MVP.
and it's a good way to win, of course. Your individual contributions do matter very much in League of Legends. And hey, if you don't give up any kills and you end up getting, like Big Fat LP is doing 3.7 kills a game, and you're not dying to do so, it's a pretty good contribution to your efforts.
Not a bad way to go. And Moscow 5, I was sat with Alex during the first match. We sat and watched the first match, and even though they were 4-0 down, he was like, no, Dignitas got this one. I was like, really? He was like, yeah, they got this one. But he said, I did get stomped with Mordecai, so they stomped me with that. He said, I see this coming. But he said, no, they're going to win it. And I was like, well, who do you prefer? He said, we'd prefer Dignitas.
Really?
Well, they've had problems with Against All Authorities. Against All Authorities know how they play, and they beat them 2-0 in the week, only on Tuesday. So they're well aware of how good Against All Authority are. But they're going to be down to third place. So they've got Dignitas in the final. Question is, can they make it, or will CLG spoil the party? And you know what? Against All Authorities just said, actually, I think CLG are going to win it.
And that might actually be the case. I mean, CLG did 2-0 their group stage match against Curse, and Curse was a team that actually was winning against Moscow 5 in the group stage. They had a 9-kill lead, a 9,000 gold lead.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's going to put you in some really good places, and CLG are a team that are really known for having a great end game sort of gameplay where as the game goes on, they tend to get a lot stronger. Hotshot just kind of farms up the entire time, and he builds gold pretends pretty often, and they can just kind of grow and be this big powerhouse throughout the late game. In Moscow 5, they rely on really a lot of early game advantage and lane dominance. If you look at some of the stats, Alex Ish is the only player with over 300 minion kills averaging a game. 300 minions a game for their solo mid player. And, again, their team is 5-0, and they counter juggle constantly, and they keep pressing these early game advantages. And, I'm actually intrigued to see how these play styles do mesh up.
Yeah, and you've got to realize that obviously CLG scrim twice a week with their European counterpart, CLG, who are here, who have beaten Moscow 5. They know how to beat Moscow 5. So these guys would have probably trained for this. I'm sure there's been some behind-the-scenes sort of training. If you come against these guys, this is what you've got to do, because CLG shut them down very early on in the jungle. That's how they did it. Every time that Diamonds went into the jungle, they both the top and the mid lane closed in on him. The jungler came in, completely 3v1, kept him out of the game. And once Moscow 5 had lost them early advantages, like you say, they had nothing else. Yep. So I think that's what CLG are going to aim to do. The question is, can they stop Moscow 5 doing it?
Yeah, well, I guess we're going to find out pretty soon then, because we do have the players ready to go up on stage. So welcome them as they get themselves up there.
All right, we are now into the second match for the semifinals. I don't know about you, but I'm pretty excited. Who has what it takes to bring it to the finals? CLG or M5? Let's hear what our casters have to say.
What's up, guys? Welcome to the main stage here, our second matchup of the day. One we definitely want to see 3 games of in this best out of 3. I'm joined with Hotshot GG from Team CLG and Alex Ish from Moscow 5. I'm just going to start here. You guys were not playing in the last matches, just hanging out at the PCs. What do you do during this downtime to prep yourselves?
We do a lot of 1v1s, and then we just analyze what other people are doing in their games.
And what are you guys doing? Are you prepping? Are you watching the matches as you may go on to beat CLG and face Dignitas as well?
We configured our sound. We were watching Dignitas versus AAA, maybe catching some ideas, and we're just preparing. Looked some pics of CLG of the previous games.
All right, now I know you guys are really excited to be in this matchup against All Authority, now widely known for having that matchup to beat Moscow 5. Have you taken anything from that playbook?
We kind of studied, and we have a little bit going for us in terms of what AA do. So, yeah.
And same for you guys. Have you been watching CLG over the week? Have you been understanding and studying what they've been doing with that early jungle?
Yeah, we studied that, and we will try to counter that.
All right, well, guys, let's get a good handshake in here. Hope to see a best of 3. Let's hear it for these two teams, CLG and Moscow 5, about to go head-to-head. Your second semifinal matchup of the day here at the IEM World Championship. Back to D-Man and Freak in the casting booth.
Yeah, what a game this is going to be. I tell you what, I'm excited about this one.
Oh,
even yesterday when we realized this is going to be CLG versus Moscow 5.
Oh, yes.
CLG versus Moscow 5. Oh, wow. And, even when we were in Kiev, we were like, wonder what would happen if, even obviously CLG EU as well, they're in attendance.
Sure.
They're watching this one. They're going to be like, well, and don't forget, they, like I mentioned earlier, they're going to give them tips. They're going to be saying, look, okay, this is what you got to do. This is how you're going to do it. The question is how much they take on board.
Yeah.
However, every time CLG turn up and Big Fat LP is playing well, they win things.
It's true.
And he is playing very well.
Although, to be fair, the last time they won anything at IEM was when Big Fat LP wasn't there and Salsi took his spot. So, I mean, that said, if there's a limit plays well, and of course Salsi did there, they did win IEM Gamescom in Cologne. So, I guess you've kind of got the same thing here where Big Fat LP, again, putting up great numbers. Again, less than a death per game, 247 minions a game. So he's farming about as well as Alex Ish is. And that can really kind of go a lot of different ways here. Hotshot's been playing phenomenally, and actually, St. Bish is also putting up really impressive numbers as well. He's actually the only jungler of any of the playoff teams to outkill anyone more than just their support. Of course, supports tend to get less than a kill per game, but St. Bish is actually outkilling Hotshot, so he's been playing really aggressively and getting into a lot of those fights as well. And that's going to be actually a really big key for them, because Moscow 5's playstyle is all about the jungle and about counter jungling. And St. Bish is probably the second most aggressive jungler in the game, second to Diamond from Moscow 5, so we're going to see how those match up. These are two of the most aggressive junglers in the game, so that's going to be a very heavy matchup there. Alex, such a really mechanically sound solo mid who seems to be able to push really well and get every last hit. And Big Fat, who's almost never died, he's a very storied player as well. He's been, in the initial CLG lineup as well.
And how do you see the bans going? I mean, we've obviously had many bans targeted towards Alex Siege before, but you got to think of Big Fat LP. He's been with Zillion. I think it was 2 or 3 times they allowed him to have him, and he was just unstoppable. And obviously with Zillion, you get that really annoying ulti. You just think, I've got him. Oh no, he's back, and then he just zips away or something, or his team comes in to support him, which is obviously why he's got such awesome stats in the middle. And then of course the top lane. Darian versus Hotshot. I'm not sure how this one's going to set up, because I don't think Darian's going to allow Hotshot to just free farm, which effectively he did in the last few games. He was just, especially when he was on that Shen, he was just literally, I'm just going to farm this lane. You guys go do your thing. I tell you what, I'm going to go down bottom. You go up top. I'll be fine.
Yeah, and Darian's the kind of player who does a lot of really cute things too. We saw him all the time at IEM Kiev, and also a couple of games here. Well, he'll basically run Summoner Teleport and go solo creep the Lizard Camp, and then show up to lane with a red buff. And at that point, especially when he was playing Gangplank back then, you can play really, really aggressively there and kind of bully people around. Now, Hotshot, amazingly mechanically sound, really good at lane control, and I don't think he's going to get necessarily owned in this situation. But I think, aside from him fighting Voyboy, Dignitas Voyboy, and again, Dignitas was the only team to actually take a game off CLG so far. Those aggressive top laners that we're seeing, both with Darian and the aforementioned Dignitas player, those are the ones who seem to have the best chance against Hotshot here. So I do actually like the play style change that Darian's going to bring. I think Hotshot might be more mechanically sound, but that might not matter if he's out of his comfort zone.
No, indeed, yeah. So hopefully we're going to be ready to go shortly. This is a game that a lot of you guys have hoped for and waited for. The question is, who will join Dignitas in the final? Because Dignitas just played brilliantly. They, you know, and against Authorities, it was just like, well, we just got outplayed. There's not a lot we could do about that. Sure. They have looked really solid this land. Remember, they've already beaten CLG the very, very first game of the event that we covered, and what a first game it was.
and that's going to be really funny if the first game of the event was actually a preview of the finals, of course. Now, to be fair, that was the one time CLG ran a pretty much tournament unproven strategy with the Blitzer lane and the solo mid Urgot, and honestly, they were doing a pretty good job, except for the pretty much swap that lost them the game right there, where they swapped in Jana and, you know, got an instant 4v5. So if Big Fat LP can stop making mistakes, and again, that was the one map they ever lost. They're 6-1 so far in the tournament. You know, CLG are definitely able to do some amazing things. Of course, Moscow 5, you know, right now the sort of almost reigning, they're the reigning champions of IEM.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, they're the current first seed in League of Legends Season 2 in Europe. I mean, these are both just phenomenally strong teams.
But these are both teams that have got their faces on the wall somewhere about here. There's CLG and there's Moscow 5 just above you. So they are both champions at IEM. Obviously, Gamescom for CLG, Kiev very recently for Moscow 5. And Moscow 5, ironically, you know, before Kiev, not a lot of people knew about them until they did the big Empire against SK.
The Nunu Karthus combo with the Asher when they were in the brush. Yeah, if you haven't seen that, by the way, just YouTube search Empire. Probably put a bunch of exclamation points in there just for fun, and you'll see about a 43-second video there, and it's
one of those videos that I watch back and think I could have done that a bit better.
But yeah, you know, it's the kind of thing where, you know, these teams, both of them really have really great teamwork, and Moscow 5, I think, even more so, sort of known for that, where you sort of look at like how they play their games, and you're not seeing like individual all-stars so much. You're seeing very much a team-wide effort, and you know, IEM Kiev, Diamond Prox got the I carried Kiev hoodie, and then we were talking to the players, and he's like, it's not any individual player, it's a team thing. And you have Darian and Alex, they're pushed their lanes, or if they're taking the blue and it's by the bottom lane, you know, they're showing up there as well with Genja and Gosu Pepper, and so, you know, it's very much a team effort, and Moscow 5 seem to be the most on the same page team in all of League of Legends. They have amazing coordination.
Yeah, and the coordination, and again, against Authority, just said, you know, it's actually amazing to watch them play sometimes, because, you know, you'll start the game when you'll suddenly be completely thrown because they've gone and changed the lanes. They've got some guy here, and actually we saw it with Dignitas, Locust going early on roaming, and we'll often see that with Moscow 5. I think it was Ehom the very first game. We saw 3 of them suddenly in the jungle over here. Next thing you know, they were level 2 dive in a tower, and then they're over back down the bottom, and then meanwhile the bottom lane's holding it quite happy, and they mix things up so much. And they are very good at doing it. The fact that they can switch the top lane, they can have an AP or a bruiser. You know, Darian is quite comfortable playing either of them. And when they do mix it up, they mix it up so well that they coordinate, even just switching between them. And that's really, I think, what's caught a lot of teams out, because, you know, you can prepare one sort of style of play and then they'll just completely change it on you.
Yeah, and that's always really viable there. And Hotshot actually, you just talked about Darian. Hotshot kind of the same way. Knows a couple of choice mages as well as his standard bruiser lineup. So if you have these targeted Aurelia or Cho'Gath bands, you know, who whips out Needly or Swain. I don't know if he knows Vladimir or Kennen that well. These are some of the sort of more traditional mage tops, but, you know, they do have quite the lineup availability, you know, as well as the Blitz Star lane that we saw against Dignitas and the solo mid Urgot that Big Fat LP plays quite well. I think there's too many strategies that CLG has to get banned out. They can kind of do anything, and you know, we've seen some of these strategies sort of define tournaments, where we saw at the IEM New York stop in the 3rd place game against Cypher. Game 1 was a 60-minute brawl where basically Hotshot carried by himself with AP Needly, and then immediately was like Needly banned for game 2 and 3, and then we've almost not seen Needly banned at all against CLG this tournament yet.
It's because you nerfed him, man.
But I mean, it's not even changed enough to where that strategy doesn't exist anymore. We've seen them run that in scrims and online tournaments, and you know, it's just one of multiple strategies they have, whether it's the Blitz Star plus Urgot mid and Swain, or it's the Needly poke comp with I forget what the solo mid they usually run there, but they almost always run Trundle bottom, usually Trundle jungle, Caitlyn bottom. You know, they've got the Jana Vayne hyper late game style where, you know, Hotshot ran double gold per 10 and just scaled throughout the game. There's a lot of things here that CLG can run, and you know, I've basically seen 2 sort of different types here from Moscow 5. One's the double AP and one's with bruiser top, but they're always sort of like, yeah, we're going to play aggressively, we're going to win early, and we're just going to kind of crush on you. And I'm intrigued to see if there are different styles here that can mesh in different ways.
And let's talk about the bottom lanes, because we haven't really touched on Genja and the Gozu Pepper versus Chowster and Double Lift is the word I'm after.
Yep.
We saw Blitzstar in the first game. Do you think we're going to see something crazy again from these guys? I mean, I think they're probably going to maybe keep it a bit normal, but you never know. It might be the game to do it in.
I think absolutely. I think any team that sort of loses game one, unless there was an obvious mistake like a Dignitas Fnatic or an SK against Authority, where it's like, oh, we clearly threw that game and should have won with what we were doing before. If you see a game just sort of go out of control and there wasn't an obvious mistake, you're going to see one of the teams pull out something special. I think CLG, if they don't go with game one, they'll go with game two if they lose, which is the poke strat, which is the Nidalee and the Trundle and the Caitlyn. But you sort of talk about the bottom lane specifically, and honestly, there's a lot of varieties here. I think these guys have been playing a lot of different supports and a lot of different carries. I think Double Lift now has only duplicated a AP or an AD carry choice twice now. He's run Vayne twice and Ezreal twice, and every other time he's run something else across the 7 games they've played so far. And the same thing here for Moscow 5, where Genja was the first person we ever saw in competitive play run AD Kennen. Rumor has it he runs AD Ahri sometimes. So there's a giant sort of variety of roles here, and it's not like an Against Authority where it's like, oh gee, they're going to grab Corki. Yep, they sure did.
Yeah.
So I'm intrigued to see how that's going to play out here. Because there's no way I can predict that bottom lane there. I can predict some of the top lane picks. I can certainly predict Diamond procs with Lee Sin, Shyvana, and was it Gangplank or was it? I'm trying to remember the only 3 junglers he's ever played in IEM so far.
He's got to be Lee Sin, Shyvana, and Gangplank.
Yeah, it was Gangplank.
I mean, he was Gangplank in Kiev quite a lot, and then they suddenly went, oh, we're going to ban Gangplank, and that's how we're going to beat them. And then they were like, oh, actually, it probably should have been Shyvana.
Yeah, and those were pretty scary. And Darian as well has a really scary Gangplank. It's kind of funny, these guys sort of cross over their champions, and it's something we've even seen CLG do, where basically St. Vicious and Hotshot will just swap like 8 times at champion select and be like, and here's the lineup.
Yeah.
And actually, Moscow 5 has that same sort of advantage to themselves as well. So looks like the players are asking if they're getting ready. CLG does say they are. Looks like Moscow 5 not quite ready to hop into their game, but we'll be going into this very, very shortly. The second semi-final match of the Intel Extreme Masters Global Championships.
So is that Team Curse watching there? There's quite a few people in and around this event. It is a pretty packed house already in here, so as you would expect for CLG versus Moscow 5, it is going to be the big semi-final that we were hoping for. Dignitas for AA, I'm a little disappointed. I mean, Against All Authorities showed so much promise. The SK game, they were effectively dominant throughout the 3 matches, other than the one game which they pretty much through, and you know what, they were doing exactly like we said. They were just holding out, everybody spawn, okay, now we'll take it, and they didn't count on Candy Panda going, I'm going to steal this one, and actually turning the game very well. And it was a very good match, but Against All Authorities just, I don't know whether they just didn't wake up this morning. They had that 4-0 advantage. 2-0 bottom lane, and I was just amazed that Kitipai managed to win that lane out.
Yeah, I mean, despite the 2-0, Corki, who's got 700 free gold to start the lane out, managed to equal in minions against the 0-1 Corki.
Starting with the Dog's Blade as well.
Yeah, and they tried to last hits very well, and you saw sort of the pushes come in. Leona went in for the aggression there, and basically got picked up for a double kill there. Ezreal picking up the kill on Leona, and Skara playing Mordekaiser picking up the kill on the AD carry on Corki, just by coming down to the bot lane, and it's like, well, geez, you're up so much gold and so much experience, and they couldn't hold on to it there. So, a lot of phenomenal play there, played by those players, and just sort of how they've been controlling these fights. It looks like finally, if I'm reading this right, looks like the players are getting closer to ready. And yes, we do have this game underway. Moscow 5 getting first pick and banned in this game. Alex Ish going to be the captain here. He's got 20 seconds left to pick his first ban. I'm expecting, there's a Cassiopeia ban that we saw from before. They've banned her, I think, every single time. Ramus, I'm predicting. There's the Gangplank ban from CLG, so they've taken some notes from Kiev.
Expect to see Shyvana banned as well, I'm guessing. But you know what? What will St. Vicious take in that jungle? I mean, we've talked about, obviously, what Diamond's going to take. And Gangplank is one of the ones he normally takes. Obviously, he goes in Shyvana as well. These are all targeted maybe towards Diamond, but you got to think St. Vicious is going to have a plan of, okay, if we're going to ban these out, what am I going to go with? Is it going to be an Alistair maybe?
Well, he's done Mundo a whole lot so far. That's been extremely popular with the North American teams. Leenock actually, I believe, ran out both games against Dignitas, if I recall correctly, there's that Shyvana ban yet again from CLG. They're targeting those three champions. If I'm predicting this correctly, that the Shen ban out there from Moscow 5, apparently they don't want to play him, although again they have first pick, and Shen was always this highly contended champion. Already being banned out against Big Fat LP. He did run her at least 3 times, and there's the Gangplank Shyvana Lee Sin ban, that trio, and interesting.
See, that's a dangerous thing. I mean, especially as a Rise can get countered quite early on, and there's a lot of counters to Rise because he lacks that range early on, but Alex is a very good Rise player.
Yeah. He's exceptionally good. He's very good at not getting ganked, although St. Vish is an exceptional ganker, and I wouldn't be surprised to see Exhaust Mundo come out here. Udyr, another great choice here as well, very aggressive laner, or sorry, aggressive jungler, or top lane, of course, that Hotshot could play him. But Rise I like as a first pick mage because Rise has less lane counters than otherwise. You know, if you first pick something like Karthus, you've kind of left yourself wide open to someone like Kassadin or Fizz, who can really kind of ruin your day. But Rise, you know, has an average matchup at worst in his lanes, and so he's a very sort of safe first pick, and they may want to go for the counter lanes everywhere else, and now we're seeing this Twisted Fate locked in, so immediately the mid lanes have been grabbed here, and CLG using this Destiny to try to drop these counter junglers, and we're going to see if that works out for him.
Yeah, that's not a bad call. That's going to be a do or die move, though, I've got to feel. You know, if he goes in there and M5 actually react pretty quick, he's pretty squishy to dive in there. He's going to have to hit the yellow cards perfectly. Janna being picked up here. We've seen Janna, I think, in every single game so far. It's either been banned or picked.
It's close to that. It's not quite 100%, but it's probably been in about 80% of the games so far. Moscow 5 specifically have been grabbing her, I believe, every time they've been able to. I remember gearing up for the Moscow 5 SK match, which was, I believe, one of the final matches of the group stage there. Yeah, both teams had grabbed her whenever available or banned her otherwise, and Moscow 5 continuing that trend, grabbing Janna whenever they could.
So Irelia now picked up as well top lane, something we've seen Darian on before. He is very aggressive with Irelia. I think he was one of the first champions actually at Kiev before they really showed their hand, you know, and he was already in there taking the Wraiths and the blue, I believe. Obviously they're going to be as the blue team, so it's going to be looking towards, we're going to keep our eye on that red and the golems on the top there, because that could be where it go towards between. But we're waiting for CLG to make their 2 picks. I would expect a top lane and a support maybe. So support Alistair coming out there. We're going to assume it's support Alistair, and Hotshot looking like it's going to go with Swain on that top lane again.
I like this Swain pick a lot. Swain is really, really good against these champions. You need to really get into melee range and physically attack you. And Irelia is one of those where she has really no range tools outside of her ultimate. And yeah, they do pick this Alistair here. Now, the one thing to be worried about is we saw this in the very first matchup with CLG versus Dignitas, where they ran basically 4 melee champions against a Janna. And the thing is, I mean, they haven't picked their full bottom lane yet. What if that is Blitzcrank? What if they run the same, almost the same strategies before, but taking Twisted Fate instead of Urgot? I mean, that's certainly a possibility here. Looks like Nocturne's going to be the grab there, so that's his de facto, hey, I can't get Lee Sin, Janna, or sorry, I can't get Lee Sin, Gangplank, or Shyvana. Well, it's going to be Nocturne, and oh, interesting.
Yes. Genji's run this a few times, hasn't he?
Yeah, so Urgot, we've seen him in the very first game of day 1, which was CLG, and I don't think we've seen him since. So we'll see if Urgot is going to be the lock-in here. The Nocturne pick I do like a lot. I think it's kind of interesting to grab that. You almost kind of think about it like Fnatic does this a bit, where they go Twisted Fate plus a Nocturne as sort of as a composition to go gank any lane they want at any time. But they don't need to deny the Nocturne. They just actually really want that champion for themselves.
So they've actually built some pretty strong heroes here. So Rise is going to be fairly tanky later on when he gets the Glacial Shroud, etc. Built up. Urgot is generally built pretty tanky. Nocturne can be very strong as well. Irelia definitely will be the last person you go for. So actually they've built a fairly strong team there. But so have CLG. The question is, where's the damage going to come from? Vayne now being picked up. Yeah, it does make sense. So that's going to be a very strong, a dangerous bottom lane. So obviously Alistair and Vayne's going to be a strong combo. Cleanse is being picked up across the board, I would guess, between these two. Actually, no, it's only going to be double if it's going to go with that Cleanse. And Clairvoyance, this is an interesting one. That the European teams generally always stick with that Clairvoyance, yet the American teams, especially CLG, barely use this anymore.
Yeah, something I'm kind of intrigued by as well is that Doublelift almost always runs Cleanse on his AD carries. He tends to not get into skirmishes early on, which usually you run Heal because the burst of health really helps you win those skirmishes, but Doublelift tends to rely on farming and tends to rely on sort of going for late game, which is why he runs champions like Vayne so very often, so very well, of course, as Vayne is exceptionally good and sort of relies on that late game gameplay, and then of course can use Cleanse to remove exhausts or stuns and slows in the leg. But it's interesting because Chowster is actually bringing Exhaust, which is kind of one of those more aggressive type summoner spells where you would often use exhaust to pick up kills in lane. Now that said, you go the other way with it and say, no, he's going to babysit late game, and if he gets jumped on by Aurelia or Nocturne, use the exhaust there and try to drop the DPS off of that champion and still let Doublelift be this late game carry. And you look at this team comp and you're like, Twisted Fate kind of in the back, able to poke very, very well, throwing a lot of damage that way. Udyr up in the front, being incredibly disruptive, throwing out a lot of damage himself, and then Alistair gets to sit back and protect, gets to protect Vayne, and then you kind of got to figure, well, what openings do you now have if you're Moscow 5? Do you try to burst Swain? Do you burst Udyr? Are you think you're actually going to catch up with Vayne with invisibility and Alistair with exhaust? And she's got cleanse. Like, there's a lot of really smart things here from CLG where. Where's your opening exactly? I mean, are you going to flash Urgot, swap Vayne, and that's your ticket in? I mean, it could work, honestly. You've got Janna in there, so once you swap Vayne, Janna could flash, ult everyone back, get the free kill, cleanse and invisibility or not, Vayne will die at that point. And maybe that's going to be the strategy. And, I mean, that could work very, very well for Moscow 5.
So which way do you think this is going to go? I do this with Joe all the time. Where's your money on? CLG or Moscow 5? Best of 3 and just this game.
Best of 3 CLG this game. I don't know. I think Moscow 5 they're going to throw out everything they need and take this one up. So, but of course, don't let the predictions fool you. We got the game going on. So give it up for these teams: Counter Logic Gaming and Moscow 5.
And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. So, in case you missed all the picks and bans, it is a long process, but a very, very important process in these games. Let's give you a quick roster rundown. It is Moscow 5, the Russian team, the champions of Kiev here in the World Championships in CeBIT Hanover. It is going to be Alex Each on Rise in the middle. It's going to be Genja down the bottom as Urgot. Diamonds will be in the jungle as Nocturne. I'm trying to think whether we have actually seen him on Nocturne before. I'm not too sure whether we saw him in Kiev at least. Ghostly Pepper will be down the bottom on Janna, and Darian at the top will be on Aurelia. I'm just checking to see if there's any crazy invades coming from these guys. We know they do love to get in there early, and CLG laying out very nicely as are Moscow 5. Very tense stuff because it is the semi-finals of the World Championships. Dignitas await in the finals. We've just seen them going 2-0 against All Authority, and wow, what a game that was. So for CLG, it is a fairly strong tanky lineup. St. Vicious will be in the jungle. He's going to be on Udyr. Hotshot GG will be up the top there. Probably one of the most famous players, I think it's safe to say, in League of Legends. He will be on Swain. Down the bottom, it will be Doublelift on Vayne. And he's just put it back, actually. With him in support will be Alistair on the cow. We saw the cow earlier with Blitzstar, or Blitzcrank and Alistair. Big Fat LP will be in the middle, though, on Twisted Fate. And you know what? There's a lot of ganking potential, a lot of hit points as well. Not any invades, though, coming out early on. Did I just miss the Wraiths being taken there? I think it did.
No, they all went back. Blitz went up, Alistair went up to put a ward down, but Doublelift had actually pulled back to, looks like grab a 4th potion to get into the lane, so really wants to get that late game going. Grab the 4th health potion, is now kind of trailing his minion line down into the lane. Alistair helping out St. Vicious with the pickup on blue. Did use smite there, so he wasn't going for like an early red with a fast smite. Slightly ahead of Diamond there at Nocturne, so we'll see if that pans out well. That 2-second advantage there. We're going to see what happens with this one.
Yeah, so of course, like you mentioned, the smite being used early up. Urgot also took the golems away down the bottom lane, so he will have that slight experience advantage. You can see he's already built up. But Udyr in that race, just keeping up with these two. They are doing identical paths as well. You can see their headbutt already coming down towards Genja there, so taking that early damage. Now Genja's going to be very strong early. Expected to see a little bit of harassment between these two. Clairvoyance has just been used on the red. They've just got to vision of St. Vicious, so no crazy early invades just yet, Freak.
Yeah, and for what it's worth, guys, if you're hearing a little bit of audio, we've actually got my video and D-Man's game sound, so maybe we can change that around a little bit. But looking up at top lane, Darian doing a little bit of harassment against Hotshot GG. Darian now sitting in the brush, though. This is kind of what I expected from this matchup, where Hotshot, because he's got that range there on Swain, he's going to be really good at poking down on someone like Aurelia, who, even though she opened up Boots 4 potions, is very afraid of what can happen here. And you can see there's a couple of tasty minions available for last hitting, but he's going to be afraid of them.
There's going to be a fade of them. So how do we think Alex is going to match up with Big Fat LP? Like we mentioned, Big Fat LP has been playing fantastically well throughout this tournament. Then again, so has Alex. They are both at the top of their game, and they are really peaking at the right time. A lot of questions went out against Big Fat LP in previous tournaments. You know, they were saying, oh, he wasn't practicing enough, but he certainly seems to have put the work in for this one. And as it is at the moment, he is running, I think, the top stats of the tournament.
Yeah, he's definitely got the best kill assist to death ratio. As far as minions, you know, again, Alex is the winner there. But you know, dying, of course, does matter quite a bit as well. See, Hotshot and Darien actually have their lanes pretty much frozen. There's almost no difference at all in the minion health. And there we go, Darien actually jumping in onto Hotshot. A lot of pain going off there. Hotshot not in the happiest place, but Kansas stand up with one of those health potions. We'll see if he can keep that going.
Yeah, so we're just keeping the eye on the junglers. They've both been back to buy. You can see St. Vicious now coming back with that double buff. Has picked up a Ruby Crystal early on. Meanwhile, Nocturne has come back. He's got that double buff as well. Has gone with the boots and cloth with those pots and the wards. So junglers going to be placing some early wards out. They're very cautious of each other. Like we mentioned about these two junglers, they are very aggressive. So I guess St. Vicious is going to place something down on this river, or will he go for a kill? And Darien is actually quite far up, man. He could get catch out. I'm looking at both kills actually. Big Fat LP being dived on. Meanwhile, at the top there, I'm going to try and go across. But he will go down in the middle there, but he looks like Darien is going to go down as well. He's not going to be able to escape this one unless he does something special. He will get caught out. He manages to juke back. Will it be enough? The ignite goes down on him. Surely he will go down. Tries to go for the stun, and a double kill. Quick engage, and thank God I managed to catch them both.
Yeah, absolutely. I was watching the top lane there. Darien actually not even burning his ignite, knowing he did not have enough damage to pick off anyone, but Big Fat LP with now 0 summoners. Hotshot actually still has his flash, which means he can play aggressively in this lane and still get away from some pretty crazy ganks.
Bottom lane, they're carrying on towards Chowster there, but you can see big double LP, double lift even, keeping them at bay. And Chowster taken very low. We won't go back. He has chewed through all his pots, though. Expected to see that Genja being very aggressive. He did start with that Doran's Blade as well, so he will be very, very strong. He'll hurt a lot, and as soon as he manages to catch someone, get that lock on, he will slow them down as well. And like you mentioned, Double Lift has come back. Big Fat LP, I'm getting my names all wrong today. Big Fat LP has come back towards the mid. He has bought that Doran's Ring there, so he's going to be doing a bit more ability power, but he's going to be hurting. It's never good when you go 1-0 down in your lane.
Yeah, absolutely the case here, and the kill... the kill went to Hotshot, so Hotshot has a really good advantage over Aurelia, but on the other side, the kill went to Nocturne and not to Rise. So Big Fat LP is not going to have as bad of a disadvantage there as Darien's going to have. So we're going to see if Hotshot can press his advantage. Darien's still actually playing aggressively against Hotshot at top. The root will whiff there, and he's going to push Darien back away from him after camping in brush. And as soon as Hotshot hits 6, he's going to have a much easier time in this lane. Darien's still actually not yet 5.
An interesting ward placement. Obviously, remember they are playing against Nocturne, so they've actually gone a lot further down the lane. You can see he's managed to place it way down in that river. Just very cautious of Nocturne coming out. And Diamonds has found Big Fat LP here, switching up towards that card, trying his best to find it. Goes through Pepper, comes up, gets the Howling Gale across. They are trying to pick on Big Fat LP. I think he's going to be able to get away. No, he's going to get caught out by Diamond, and that will be a second kill. And it's a second kill for Nocturne. Meanwhile, at the top there, Darien's been caught out of position again. St. Vicious diving in towards him. Darien, he's going to get caught by the Never Move. Actually, no, he just managed to juke out of it and stuns Hotshot there. I think St. Vicious will get the stun on him just about in time. He does get the slow down. Darien is going to be very low. He will get taken down, and well, kills exchange yet again. This time though, it was Hotshot again that picked it up. Nocturne picking it up, like you mentioned. They're pulling the damage down on that middle tower, but this is a very close game already.
Yep, absolutely. And despite the fact that you can see CLG actually winning now by 600 gold just by pure mechanical skill and last hitting, and a lot of that's because Hotshot is zoning out Darien a fair amount there. You can see the minion advantage quite nice, and actually translating some of that early advantage into again this fast oracles with St. Vicious. We saw that earlier on him, and they were going for blue, but they're like, wait, mid's missing, and Big Fat LP is not in a good place right now. We don't want to give away more kills than we have to.
Yeah, they weren't really in the way to go for it, and actually Diamonds picks it up. He doesn't give it Alex, so
he smited it. He definitely wanted it. I think they just, I don't know, it's weird because he used smite on it, and again, Alex has his
tier.
Yeah, he has a tier already, so he doesn't necessarily need the mana super heavily, but it's still a little bit surprising to me.
Nevertheless, the top lane Hotshot GG is being fed quite well. So going with that Doran's got that Catalyst down there as well early on. Double Doran's Blade for Double Lift down the bottom here, and that Vampiric Scepter. Meanwhile, you can see that Urgot is building up. He's got that second Doran's now along with Boots. Just seeing Big Fat LP going across. He will pick up the blue buff. So the question is, do they feel confident enough to think, you know what, actually we could steal a blue buff away from them. We're just going to kill him in the mid and get it ourselves.
Yeah, I mean, it's a way to do that, actually, that worked for him twice so far. I don't see why they couldn't do it again. And now, of course, they do have Nocturne's got to be 6 by night. He's 7, actually. Actually, some aggression at top lane. Darien fighting Hotshot, both using their ults, which is great because they work kind of similarly. They deal damage and they heal for the damage dealt. And so you're kind of seeing them both trade back to decent places. But Hotshot About to have a big minion wave at his turret. Will has hit a couple of these, but it's going to get a little bit difficult for him. There's his ult form being used to help with the last hitting. I'm going to see if he can get much more gold out of this.
Oh, just catch down the bottom there. They have gone towards Ghost Pep. You can see Big Fat LP. It was actually Jouster that picked up the kill, though. That's less than ideal. You can see the lock-on continuing from Genja there, trying to get on towards Big Fat LP. So the support player going down. And you know what? His supports, it's not good when your support gets it, especially when Big Fat LP was hurting there. Had to use his ulti to get down there, so they're going to realize that's not available. We are at the 9-minute mark. I'm trying to think of the timer on that. It's actually quite a long one. It's in 70 seconds, so it will be up plenty of time before they even start thinking about Dragon. So Alex returning to mid. He has got that tier and the Ruby Crystal, building up towards that Catalyst. Nocturne again coming around, but he will walk straight past that wall.
Actually, Devil pushing in on Gunja at bottom real quick. He used Final Hour, did not push in far enough into the turret to get the stun, but he popped the ult to go for some damage.
While at the top, you can see Darian and Hotshot trading again with their ultis. This is going to be a very close one, despite the fact Hotshot has got that clear advantage early on. The fact is, Aurelia, once you get a minion wave, it's very hard to really go against him. But, you know, Hotshot, like you say, he is a very, very similar character. But I think the farming between these, it may go on for a while.
Yeah, I think, and that's Hotshot's kind of forte there. He will play aggressively and deal some damage. You've seen the ganks work so very well for St. Vicious before, and actually, if you look, there was no ward coverage for Darian. You know, we've seen this before. We saw it against Solo Mid, we saw it against Curse, where they pretty much camped, the enemy team would then camp top lane and just wrecked the Rain Man and Sidco respectively. And it was when they were on Aurelia especially, and Alstot was saying that you really can't let an Aurelia free farm forever. And the thing is, it looks like Saint would have pretty easy ganks here. I'm surprised they haven't come back and sort of renewed that, hey, let's go kill top lane role.
Well, as soon as you mention it, you can see him moving on the map, and he's like, well, that's not a bad idea, Freak. I think I might do that. So you can see Nocturne actually is in a position ready, and they're going to dive on towards Hotshot. Hotshot is going to get taken very low, but I'm not too sure if his ulti is going to tick down. He will manage to get a kill, though. I don't think he's going to get out. Big Fat LP comes in, uses his ulti on towards Diamonds, hasn't got the stun card, goes for the slow instead. Fail flash from Diamonds. That will be definitely a kill, and that is going to hurt. And you know what? The fact is, while that was all happening, Alexic sort of started to move towards it and then chose not to, and that would have made a big difference.
Oh man, he could have shown up in time too. That flash, it's going to really hurt him. We saw a flash, you know, work earlier over that cliff before, just slight mistake there by Diamonds. It gave away a kill they didn't have to. And this time, actually, still Big Fat not getting these kills. He's 0-2-2, so with the assist, he's back to being worth 300 gold, so the kills on him are going to be rather useful, but he does want himself some more money. 83 minions there, actually doing okay. I mean, 92 for Ryze is still higher, but he's now got 2 assists, so that's going to equalize that pretty quickly.
So down the bottom, like you say, Genja is, well, 86 CS to 78, so pretty even between these two. You can see Berserker Grooves has been bought by Double Lift. He waits in prone position. They really want to try and get some ganks off now. They're starting to get down a stage where they think they can actually do some damage to Genja. They have to be careful they don't get ulti transition in towards the tower, though. And it's really all about this top lane. That's where they seem to be ganking very successfully. And again, you can see they go for it. They are very aggressive, these top two. Darian using his dash to get out of there and just probably lay down a fair bit of damage to Hotshot GG. That was a pretty good exchange from, considering he's 0-3-1. He's actually still trying to keep it even there. Obviously, the best nerf earlier after this tournament again, because you can never nerf him enough. And he goes in again. Hotshot using his ulti. He's going to be low on mana, though. Remember, Darian will not have enough mana to keep in there. And Hotshot GG could try and finish this one off. Does manage to get the bird, never move, had to force the flash there. Meanwhile, down the bottom here, you can see St. Vicious catching on towards Diamonds. Diamonds will come across. Alex managed to get the prison down. I think they're just going to let him back away from there, although the stun card comes on towards Alex, and now St. Vicious getting very aggressive. Gosu Pepper coming down, hop up, throws the Howling Gale across. St. Vicious just about going to back away from this one. Alex was taken very low. Gosu Pepper playing the great support there and blasting them away from that monsoon. Very close exchanges still, Freak.
Yeah, that was absolutely close. Good job by both teams. Their supports came over, and either one of them could have forced that fight in the other way.
You can see they've gone down towards Genja. He tried to use his ulti to get down there, but Genja was clear to get away from that one. I think he pulled the red card and not the yellow, so that would have been a quick kill, but it didn't happen for them.
Yeah, Mantine did flash, so that at the very least they did burn flash away from Genja. That's going to help him out in getting that kill. And actually, this is not the first time we've seen failed gold cards from Twisted Fate players.
And it's an interesting thing that they do. I mean, whether they're just trying to do it so quick that they don't pull it before they go, because most people, you know, you pull it before you go there.
I mean, it's got to be nerves. It has to be.
Well, they're on a huge stage. I mean,
sure.
it is a massive stage, don't get me wrong. They are probably the best AP players in the world right here.
Yeah.
We are at the World Championships. This is the semi-finals. This is the place they need to be. And, you know, you wouldn't be human if you didn't have nerves in this place.
Yeah, I guess that's fair. But, I mean, still, you know, Big Fat LP is a player who's been playing pretty much since beta, and Twisted Fate specifically. But here's the swap on
Ulti down the bottom.
Yeah, Doublelift not in great shape. A good headbutt there away onto Genji, but Diamond still chasing down Doublelift with the lock-on on there still. Exhaust onto Nocturne, doing a lot of good stuff, and he gets out actually, but here comes St. Vicious into the fray. Chester popped ult. No, they're not going to want to fight this. CLG going to back away. And now at the top lane, some more aggression. Hotshot fighting Darien, and they're just going to keep trading back and forth. And now that Hotshot ult has ended, Darien going to try to get a little bit of health back here. See if he can get himself back up to a decent stage. He's not been able to push back Hotshot yet, though.
So how's this faring up? You can see there is a 2k gold advantage to CLG. They are farming very well at the moment. We are seeing St. Vicious with that Oracles on. Obviously, he's been very successful in these games. 2-0-2 right now, having to get up towards that top very clearly and clearing out those wards around the
present top lane. Hold on, Hotshot. No, never mind. He's going to back away and be fine. We keep seeing them push at each other, but they're sustaining themselves quite nicely. But now, yeah, CLG's going for Dragon.
Yeah, Dragon is on. And you know what? I don't think Moscow 5 are really in a position to actually do this. They realised Nocturne had gone back. The Howling Gale comes across. I don't think they're going to be able to get in and steal this one unless they pull off something spectacular. And that will be CLG picking up the first Dragon. Very nicely played. Jouster being caught out there by Genji. And you can see Genji actually doing quite a bit of damage already. He has managed to get that Brutalizer to go with those double Doran. So he is starting to hurt. If he's going to get a lock onto a Vayne, maybe he will be able to take him down. But the question is, will the Vayne will just use his ulti and go in Viz, like you're saying, get out away from there.
Well, the one thing you can see at bot lane, though, despite the earlier kills that came in, we've actually seen that Genja is actually still beating Doublelift in minion kills, so that lane actually winning ever so slightly. But that said, I think CLG's late game for this bot lane is better.
Yeah, Vayne is a scary, scary thing late game. And Genja, well, he's going to have to... we saw him before, and he builds very, very tanky. And actually, you know, he just tanks up the damage. Obviously, people are thinking, right, let's get the AD carry. And then actually, he can take a lot of damage. I'm not too sure how this is going to go. It's going to be about the targeting. I don't think Big Fat LP is going to survive very long in late-game team fights.
Yeah, it's going to be a bit of a difficulty there. I mean, Twisted Fate, he's not really building that tanky. You can see the double Doran's ring then immediately into a death cap. It's going to give him really good burst and really good poke, and they can use that pretty successfully to push down turrets. And for those ganks as well, you've seen him come into these fights at least twice now and have pretty successful destinies. But yeah, we're going to see what happens late game. You've got amazing displacement here from Moscow 5. Both Aurelia and Nocturne can dive, and you've got Urgot and Janna who can really mess with the enemy positions. We'll see if that pans out well or poorly for them. We've seen fail swaps before, and we've seen amazing swaps before.
Oh, Doublelift's been locked on. He might go down here. You can see Genja trying his best. Can they catch him with a Howling Gale? No, Big Fat LP is going to come in and support them. And actually, Gosu Pepper using the ulti. Meanwhile, you can see Diamonds driving in. Can they get a lock on? Oh, they did get a lock on. Very nicely played. Now they're on towards Jouster. Jouster has popped his ulti to try and get away from this one. Will he be slowed enough by Doublelift? Yes, he will. He's going to get caught out, and that's going to even up the kills. It will be all square. Look back towards the top. You can see Darien and Hotshot also trading blows. It is a little bit too late for him, though, and you can see Hotshot actually winning out slightly in that encounter. I think both used Ignite there, so Darien taken very low by Hotshot, but that is definitely pulled things even. You can see the gold still 2k behind, though, so the farming is still going the way of CLG, as you'd expect.
Yeah, but Hotshot definitely doing a really good job of crushing this lane, and despite that kill sort of push right there, still almost 3,000 gold, 2,400 really the advantage for CLG, and a lot of it is Hotshot ultimately winning this lane. I think St. Vicious gave a lot of that early on, was part of the reason Hotshot's winning. You look at the minions and it's 102 to 106, and you're like, well, geez, if St. hadn't ganked him 3 times, would Darien just be winning this lane?
Well, that's the question. I mean, would he? And will he come back? You know damn well he's going to get strong later on. Has picked up that recursive bow now. And Alex continuing to farm well in the middle as well. 1-0-1 Alex, 0-2-2 Big Fat LP. But you remember a certain Twisted Fate fanatic Dignitas? He was about 10 to 12 kills down, but he was still causing so many problems because he was just going around the map and using his ulti to come and support as and when he needed it. Managed to backdoor very well. It's something we saw in the World Cyber Games 2010. Remember the you and me back on stage way back then, and,
remember that one,
for CLG versus I think it was SK Gaming, wasn't it, back then? And you know, that's when the American community suddenly went, Twisted Fate
TF's still good. Oh, I see. and back here we are again. TF's still good. So we'll see if Big Fat can get himself these items pretty soon. He's at 1,400 gold, so he can buy a death cap. And the longer you wait on this, kind of the worse off it's going to be for him, because he's going to want that power surge. Alex already has Banshee's Veil. You can see 118 magic resist, also with Mercury Treads. So he's not going to get shut down by this TF almost at all. Saint waiting off in the wings. They might go for some aggression here. I think they're waiting for Big Fat to knock off that Banshee's Veil with some wild cards, and then go in for a gold card stun.
Yeah, and he's not falling for a hot shot, was also lurking. Meanwhile, you can see Darian actually having a little dive on towards double lift there. Does back away wisely because he sees St. Vicious charging up the river. Oh, and he's got caught out because he hasn't got that tower. Big Fat LP gets the stun in there. Darian is trying to dash away from this one. Will be able to get the cover of Alex Ich, though. And I think he's just going to room prison up and blast a few shots in towards St. Vicious' face. And he'll back away. Meanwhile, Hotshot was also trying to cut them off. Blue buff has spawned, though, so will they cut across towards it? They haven't got any ward vision of it, so I don't think they're going to be able to get in there in time. Alex Ich will take this one away. This time I don't think Diamond's going to smite it off.
Nope, not going to happen this time around. And we can see Genja, though, actually has been staying bot lane. You can see 159 minions, actually ahead of the Twisted Fate. So again, we look at some of the stats before and how, the winning and losing lanes, where they're still farming really, really well. Again, we saw Darian was keeping up with Hotshot GG, and now you see Twisted Fate, even though he opened up 0-2, highest minions on his team, and actually out TSing Alex Ich, which is very surprising considering the earlier sort of average stats of, how much he was normally dominating in minion kills.
And so ping goes down just as red buff spawns. And I think that's a case of, is Genja going to come back and get it? No, I don't think so. It's just going to be Nocturne. We'll pick that up and take it away. So at the moment, it stands that Doublelift is farming up this top lane. And like you mentioned, the farming, Doublelift has fell quite far behind Genja in that stakes. Meanwhile, Rise is keeping quite close to Big Fat LP. But Big Fat LP doing a great job, considering in fact he got ganked twice early on, and has managed to keep the CS up. St. Vicious is going to be giving the blue buff to Hotshot possibly here. No, Twisted Fate's going to come across and pick it up. So Big Fat LP is like, no, really, I want that. I'll have it, thanks. Hotshot, go do your thing. Actually, interesting enough, normally at this point of the game, Hotshot is off farming on his own. He's not doing that. I'm a little concerned about that. He has got the Rod of Ages completed, but
yeah, they're giving it to Doublelift.
He kind of, every time CLG do well, it's Hotshot off farming on his own.
Yeah, and I think they're sort of choosing as a team, and normally Hotshot plays these super hyper carries like Udyr or Aurelia, where their job really is to just be the most threatening champion on the team, and Doublelift is like that secondary carry there. But in this case, Doublelift is Vayne, and Hotshot is Swain. And Swain's super strong, and actually you can see Moscow 5 going for the Dragon there, but, and yeah, CLG not even going to contest. They're going to actually go for it. No, they're not going to go for the turret instead. I'm surprised they could have gotten some free pressure there, but they're going to give away this Dragon. It's going to be one split to each team, 27-10 the respawn there. But CLG are still holding a 2,000 gold advantage. Doublelift getting some solo lane farm. Looks like he'll be afraid now and will recall back to base. Should have enough for Bloodthirster. Indeed he does.
We'll see if that's an interesting one. So, I mean, we've talked about it before. CLG don't feel it's worth contesting that Dragon sometimes because they just don't feel that the 1,000 gold is worth a possible 3 or 4 kill difference, which can turn games on their heads quite considerably. So obviously weren't super confident that they could come out on top of that fight. So they're just like quite happily, it's like, yeah, okay, we're not going to get it. We've got the time on it. We'll just keep pushing. But they didn't push on that middle turret, which I kind of expected to do. They were happy to just let Doublelift get that free farm at the top.
And you're going to see that Darian will now get the free farm at the top for himself. We'll see how this pans out. Chaps are going to play a little bit aggressive here against Genja, but Genja getting more and more scaled up. TF pops his ultimate. Looks like he's not going to go anywhere, though. Maybe they were afraid of some counter jungling, but their buffs are down. You can see some pressure in mid lane, actually. St. Vicious taking a lot of damage here from Diamonds, and Alex Ich is going to get ignited as well. Big Fat LP's there. He's going to stun Rise, but the damage up a massive. St. Vicious is going to fall down. And 6-5 the kill score, and for once, CLG is not responding to a kill in mid with a kill of their own. So for the first time for more than 4 seconds, Moscow 5 in the kill lead.
Yeah, definitely, and that's an interesting fact. And Alex going very aggressive, using the flash room prism there to actually make sure that kill was completed. Meanwhile, the Hotshot was hanging around down the bottom there, but he has gone back. He was trying to maybe try and find some sort of gank attempt, but now that that's happened, Diamond's immediately in that jungle. It's just like instant click. It's like, we got him, that's it, I'm off. I'm in their jungle. This is my jungle now. I am going to occupy this space. Genja, meanwhile, getting a lock on towards Chaos, being very aggressive, but he is taking shots from Doublelift. His support was actually gone. Meanwhile, the top turret has gone down. Doublelift getting the lock on again there, headbutted away by Chouster. Chouster is now become the target from Genja, and Genja continues to lay down the ultimate switch there. Don't think it's going to be enough. It's going to be a headbutt away from that one. Pulverize goes down. He actually used his ulti as well. Doublelift, meanwhile, was like a buy target that he was just trying his best to keep in there. Goes to Pepper. Oh, Nocturne has dived on him and trying to see. Hasn't got vision though on Chouster, which is why he used that ulti and couldn't quite go in. They will push on this wall upon the tower, and now they're going to continue invading. You can see Diamonds. He's just like, wow, I want to take the whole jungle away from you guys.
Yeah, unluckily for him, wolves were already gone, so St. Vicious didn't get those. You're farming rather quickly. And they're actually pinged where they think St. Vicious went. They actually had a ping down there. And now they see him invading towards blue, and Aurelia going to wait for him in the brush. This could get scary. Ryzen actually moving over. I'm surprised that he didn't come in for a kill there. But Saint taking a bit of damage there, down to about 2/3, despite having quite the resist stack.
So that bottom tower was taken down to about 400 hit points by the minions. Genja has just gone back and bought. And, well, actually, we're starting to see some quite tanky items coming out as well. So we can see the Randian's Omen on Udyr now, but as well as that Rabadon's Death Cap that you talked about earlier on Twisted Fate. Looking towards Aurelia, you can see Aurelia's been able to just play catch-up. 174 CS, he's actually quite far ahead now, 141 for Hotshot. So Hotshot obviously having to give up his farm for double lift has actually started to hamper him, because despite that advantage he had early on, he didn't really pick up too many kills. He had 2-1-2, and 0-3-1 Aurelia is just continuing to farm, and Aurelia will get stronger and stronger and stronger as the game goes on, and really is starting to get into his own. But just look at Genja, he's already strong. He's got that Glacial Shroud on there, Brutalizer he had early on, he's got the armor, so I don't think there's a great deal that Vayne can do against him at the moment. Vayne has completed that Bloodthirster though, so will be good once the late game comes, and really, you know, Vayne can be one of those crazy hyper carries late game.
And he catches that lock on double lift, taking a lot of damage. You can see him drop to half health from, oh my gosh, below half health from one combo, 1,000 damage dealt there. Now, to double lift's favor, he does have probably 20-something% lifesteal. You can see 29 actually, so it'd take about 3 seconds to fill back up. But still, the amount of burst there, and you just figure, oh, if Nocturne showed up, dead.
So middle tower will go down, Moscow 5 in there. Big Fat LP admitting defeat and backing away from that one. So top tower, middle tower, both down. Darian being very aggressive, continued to push in this top lane, and now Hotshot realizes he's got to deal with him. Genja pushes his bottom lane as well, and he will take it down, so that will be all 3 outer turrets down though, and then we're going to gank on towards top there. You can see Darian is the target. Hotshot GG will try and come in, he gets the ulti, Never Move will land, and that's going to be the stun card. Actually, it was the slow card again there. Didn't get the stun card, the Ignite is down. He has got Rise coming across to support him, and I think he will get out of that one. Very nicely played by Darian.
Yeah, that was a good flash. Actually, I thought it was a gold card. I thought it was locked up. It was kind of set over the top of the Never Move from Hotshot, yeah. So I couldn't tell quite which one was hitting. But it was actually very unfortunate they managed to layer their stuns. If I were Big Fat, I would have actually tried to, I mean, either one of them tried to wait a little bit longer on using that root or that stun, and using that extra about 1.5 seconds to get some more damage down. Just managed to flash over the wall and get away. Just very much to the dismay of CLG.
So despite their quick early start, they are suddenly on the back end of some pretty impressive invasions, and wow, okay, and we are seeing a possible Baron here, and Big Fat LP is going to put a ward straight in there and go, what the, hold on a minute, 26 minutes, this is possible. They're going to have to peel off this one. I don't think they're going to have anything to do with it, but Vayne is a long way away. You can see Double Lift desperately trying to make his way up. Udyr uses his ulti on towards St. Vicious. St. Vicious probably a pretty tanky target, but will go down eventually. Goes to Pepper, meanwhile has Hotshot GG in the backside. Genja is going to lock on towards Big Fat LP. Is a split across. I'm going to try and follow as much as I can towards the AP carry. You can see Diamonds is going to have to avoid it. Double Lift coming in, laying down a lot of damage. It's Genja on Double Lift. Remember, we saw the damage early on. Hotshot GG, meanwhile, you can see Chowster being taken down by Darian. He will go down back towards Double Lift. Genja is going to go down, but he's already completed the GA, and suddenly he's just going to respawn. Alex Hitch continues to chase straight into a ward. And that just took him straight down. And Moscow 5 coming out very strongly in that fight. It was a 4 for 2, sorry, and they have it in them to just go back and take that Baron back.
And that's what they're going to do right away. You can see Darian leading the charge with Alex and Genja right behind him. And that's going to be almost definitely enough damage. You can see Alex actually walking up toward the Baron so that he will tank that. By the way, when the Baron attacks you, it drops your attack damage by half. And so if you're a mage and you can suck it up, you should tank the Baron so that an AD champion like Aurelia cannot suffer that debuff. So some nice little mechanical knowledge there, and just teamwork there by Moscow 5. And for you Cassiopeia players out there, remember
all
that one.
All 5 got that.
Oh wow, they respawned in time?
Yeah.
Oh dear.
Which is not good for CLG. So Moscow 5, despite having a pretty tricky start, they did trade blow for blow, but obviously it was Diamonds that picked up the kills rather than Rise in the middle, which would have been the ideal champion. They have managed to pull themselves back into this, and Aurelia, you know what, better nerf Aurelia, because he's still very strong in this game. Coming through, Gosu Pepper warding out, and they are going to try and take this dragon away. And Moscow 5 are very good at pushing the advantage once they feel it's there.
Yep, and they're just sort of scaling and scaling throughout this game. Now, the one good chance for CLG, though, is, again, they have Vayne, and Vayne, as far as the damage threat goes, does scale much, much better than Urgot. However, Urgot brings a lot of utility here. And again, you know, pointing back to what happened in, CLG versus Dignitas, is good and bad swaps could make fights happen. And CLG has champions like Alistair who really just want to get swapped. And if he makes that mistake, they can throw a team fight right away. And as we saw Dignitas and Against All Authority, you can throw games very easily in a best of 3. So, you know, so there's no real guarantee on winners right now at all. Doublelift continuing to scale up through this game is going to be very, very scary. So Darian actually making a move there up on a Doublelift, going to take a lot of damage. Doublelift pops ultimate. Oh my gosh, the damage of it from Morelli is massive. See if he can make any more moves here to get away. Doublelift's gonna, oh, he jukes across the brush. Darian can't find him yet. His Condemned still 12 seconds away, but Nocturne shows up. And that's not gonna be enough for him. Nice pickup there.
A big sigh from the crowd. He's like, you gotta wait. Oh. Well, so Moscow 5 now realize they have that 4-5 advantage. The AD carry down. They're gonna try and push their pressure in towards the middle, but Darian is continuing to have to farm up that lane down the bottom there. So they are only in a 4-on-4. Will they be able to push on? Hotshot GG will be able to clear them lanes as well as Big Fat LP. So they will be easily clearing these lanes. And I don't quite think they're quite confident enough to do a full tower dive yet. They have the advantage, but it's not a huge advantage just yet. 11-7, you can see the gold advantage is in Moscow 5's favor. 30 minutes into this game, they are going to switch straight towards this bottom lane. That's why Darian was continuing to push it. And you know what? CLG going to have to give up on this one. They were too late to move across. The rotation from Moscow 5 as well now to go towards the middle lane. Diamond's trying to use his speed advantage that he gets. Ward will tell them they're going straight across, but they will lose the second inner turret as well. CLG not going to get in position in time to defend this one, so they're going to have to just sit back in that base and hope that Moscow 5 don't come charging in.
Yeah, Moscow 5 actually going to, yeah, they're actually not going to come charging in, so they're going to go ahead clear out some of these raids.
Tutorial style, I believe, is the phrase.
Indeed, and they're just going to take pretty much everything away. They've got one more outer turret to go for. Doublelift actually waiting. Oh man, that could have been funny if he got clairvoyance there, but he's going to go back down to his turret. We're going to see if they actually try to stop Moscow 5. Nocturne in the front, really not giving many cares here.
This is a big creep wave as well.
Oh yeah, but they do have a Twisted Fate. You should be able to clear that out without too much trouble.
So here they go. They're going to go in there, and then, no, they're not going to follow that creep wave in. Thought they might go for it this time, but going to play it carefully. Bottom wave is going to push itself. Top middle lane is going to need a clearance, but Doublelift's going to get straight down and clear out that bottom wave. So Moscow 5, they have picked up 3 turrets so far with that Baron. The Baron buff is only got about 30 seconds left on it. Oh, a flash ulti from Genja there actually was cancelled out because through the cleanse, I think it was. Quicksilver Sash. It was that managed to use it. So Hotshot GG managing to get out of that one. So I would expect actually Moscow 5 probably going to back away from this one now and just clear out the jungle.
Yeah, but they're going to actually clear out that blue buff. Let's see if they give it. I mean, it could go to Genja. He doesn't really need the mana, but it seems neither does Rise. So sure, it's going to be on Urgot. He'll enjoy that extra, looks like 15% cooldown reduction from his regular build. We'll see. Big Fat LP does have Lich Bane, so he is scaling throughout this game. 274 minions, actually the highest in the game. Second place actually is Aurelia, so the 2 that got picked on the most are farming the hardest, which is actually pretty excellent by those players to not lose heart and not lose focus and get themselves into a late game threatening scenario. And again, CLG, pretty good masters of late game. Vayne going to scale really, really well. Alistair always going to be a big threat there. That exhaust is going to scale throughout the game. They have a Twisted Fate ultimate, which will do really good things for them as well. They can get these split pushes going. CLG have done that a lot as well. They've employed a split pushing strategy before to great effect here. St. Louis is actually going to do that right now and hope he doesn't get caught out by Aurelia and Nocturne. Doublelift desperately wants some levels though.
And let's just have a quick look at the ward coverage, because CLG have been forced back a little bit. They have managed to get out and get those wards in the river. Just keeping my eye to see whether they manage to catch out Gosu Pepper, because that's really what they're going to have to. Anyone that's just sneaking out, trying to get those wards down, you can see he's going with that Zeeks as well, or Starks, I'm going to forever call it, I'm afraid. It's so Gosu Pepper being an interesting support with that, and it's something we don't always see, especially on a Janna.
Yeah, normally you see that rush for Shirelles, but it seems that Moscow 5 doesn't want that rush in and catch them sort of thing, because there's a lot of really good crowd controls from CLG, so instead grabbing Zeeks because he's got 2 bruises on that team. Actually, no, 3, I take that back, because they've got sort of Urgot, Janna, and Nocturne all really wanting attack speed and lifesteal. And that's a good way to buff up your team is, yeah, we can all move fast, or we can do way more damage than you.
keeping my eye on Darian. He's going to get surely caught out here. St. Vicious has managed to get into a twisting. Fate is going to come in. He's flashed in towards Baron Pit. Did get stun guarded, but he gets away from it. Nicely used there. And you can see that CLG were collapsing around him, and he wisely got out of it. And that's going to give Moscow 5 the impetus to push straight up the middle there. And Aurelia is going to come across, and he's actually working his way back up towards the top there. Hotshot GG is teleporting back towards base, but they're going to get onto a bit of damage on towards this middle turret before CLG can get in and respond. Will it be enough? I think Moscow 5 will probably peel away from this one. Yeah, and wisely so, because see Big Fat LP puts them wild cards out and quickly clears off the stack.
The minions are back once more, but CLG very much ready for it. Actually, the ability power build up pretty well for these champions. Hotshot, 240 AP. They've pinged over. They know that Moscow 5 are over to the left-hand side by Wraiths. Baron should be in the pretty near future as well. CLG grouped up as 5, and there's Genja up in the front. Could they go for this one? Is going to go in for the fight. Actually whiffs all the roots there. Now Genja in the front taking all the damage. Knocked, goes up a Big Fat LP. He's going to get pushed back a little bit. No, Big Fat's still getting down to half health. Chaucer pushed away as well. Diamond taking so much damage from Dave. They can't look at that kill. There's a swap up on a double. No, not going to pick it up. There's the kill right there. Now on to Genja, but double to half health. Down to 1/3. Gets dropped by Genja. Genja still at half HP. Big Fat LP getting pushed around. Alex now getting very, very low. Can Saint pick up that kill? Diving in. No, will get dropped down. Alex still not falling, but now it's going to be Chaucer trading up that kill. Hotshot now left alone against 2. And this is pretty bad because he's out of mana, getting chased down with a red buff Urgot. Looks like Hotshot going to fall. Ace picked up there by Moscow 5. 5-3 in that fight. 16-10 overall. And they're going to keep pushing in towards that base.
It was a very close team fight there until they finally actually focused on double lift. He was doing a lot of damage, really wrecking them in there. And Nocturne went down very quickly. I thought for a moment CLG might be able to turn out the team fight, but with Genja still alive, and obviously you wouldn't want to focus him. He got the Guardian's Angel up. He would have just respawned. He's very tanky. So he is causing some big problems for CLG here, and they will take this inhibitor down before any of CLG managed to get out there and defend it. You can see that Alistair and Vayne now up, but that's and Moscow 5 going to pick that up and just back away. And Baron has just spawned in time, so I guess the next fight will be over towards it. Can they get any wards towards there? Because ward coverage just kind of fell away while that big team fight was going on there. Double Lift being very aggressive. He's got to be careful not to go on towards Genja there.
Yeah, thankfully he has a Quicksilver Sash, so if he went for the cleanse, he could break out of it. This is pretty much a trademark double lift build. Even if he's not fighting against the suppression, gets that Bloodthirster and a Phantom Dancer, and then the Quicksilver Sash, stacking with cleanse. But the problem is you can't cleanse death, and Aurelia has been dishing that out quite a lot in these last 2 fights. She has caused pretty much all of Double Lift's deaths now in this mid to late game, and CLG actually pushing for it as the AD carrying support are out of the way, so they might pressure this to try to pull into a fight. I don't know if they know it's a 3v5 right now, though. It looks like they've allowed themselves to get pushed back by M5. They're going to Shrelius in. They're not going to catch anyone, though. That would have been a great opening for CLG. Again, a 5v3 would have been the best time for them to actually get some kills.
Yeah, definitely would have been a very good catch because Genja was long gone, and they would have certainly picked up a couple of kills. And for a moment, I thought Alex was actually going to go up north, and I thought that would be the death. But now Moscow 5 going in there. Neither of them have oracles, so neither of them have any vision of these wards that are in there. Now Ghostly Pepper does come in here. That oracle pops it, clears it out, and Moscow 5, well, can they pick up this Baron before CLG can get him to react? They're going to peel out in a moment. You can see Genja just getting ready to ulti, and it was Hotshot. And again, he Quicksilver sashed it away. So Genja managed to lose that ulti on towards him to try and catch on his Double Lift. Double Lift got Nocturne diving on him. Double Lift cleanses away. Tries to get away from it as much as he can, but he does get picked up there. Hotshot GG also taken down. And now Moscow 5 looking like they are in the stronger position. St. Vicious will eventually go down. Chauster now the last man standing. That ulti is not going to help. And Moscow 5 pick up a clean ace and storm in towards the base. The first game is almost certainly going to go to Moscow 5. The Russian team have turned up and continued on their dominance. They have not dropped a single game in the World Championship so far. We are in the semi-finals. It is a best of 3, but they are continuing on from Kiev.
Yeah, and this is a phenomenal job so far. It's going to be up, if they want to continue Kiev's performance, it'll take the grand finals to drop a map. This game 1 going to theirs in not the most convincing fashion, but a very hard-fought win. Great job to Moscow 5. There they are on your screen right there. 1-0 in this semifinal. They're going to have to go for another one, though, and that was incredibly close. The ganks up top were pretty hardful, and, you know, they managed to squeak out a late game, but this is definitely anyone's game still. This looks just incredibly close right now.
It was, and they literally just traded blows at the top there. I mean, they completely picked on Darian, yet he still came back and quite strong.
Oh, yeah.
Is that just a case of it was Aurelia? Or
No,
whether it's just a case of he farmed and played very well?
Darian was phenomenal that game. He did such an excellent job going 0-3 and still coming out super, super strong. Props to him. But guys, we'll be back with Game 2 after a short break, so we'll see you in the very near future.
The Intel Extreme Master.
Hey, what's up, you guys? My name is Alin Hong, and just a minute ago, we were scouting for someone who was knowledgeable in League of Legends and a big fan of the Intel Extreme Masters. And look who we have right here and right here. What is your name?
My name is Jonathan.
Hello, and what is your name?
My name is Matthias.
All right, so these two are very brave contestants because I have a little contest for the both of you guys. Are y'all ready?
Yes.
Okay, he's down for it. You look a little nervous, though.
A little bit.
He's a little bit nervous, but the thing is, you guys have to battle it out, and you guys will win a prize, a t-shirt. Okay, so here are the rules. This is going to be a little trivia contest. How does that sound? A trivia contest, okay? So I'll be asking you questions, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave the shirt right here in the middle, and you guys step back a little bit more to those X's. You see those X's? Stand there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask you guys a question, and whoever knows the answer runs to the middle, grabs the shirt, and then you can come to me and answer the question. Whoever answers the most questions correct wins the prize. How does that sound? Are y'all ready? Okay, cool. Let's give a big round of applause for our two contestants first off. All right, okay. Question number 1. Who won the League of Legends tournament at the last Intel Extreme Masters stop in Kiev? All right.
It was Moscow 5.
Correct. Good job. Okay, so that's 1 point for you, 0 for you. Okay. All right, now question number 2. How many champions are in League of Legends right now? How many champions are in League of Legends right now? Ah, you told me you were an expert. You're very knowledgeable. No one knows? You got a guess? Okay. Whoever can... All right, okay.
47?
Oh my God, you are far off, man. Not at all. Do you have a guess? Let's hear your guess. The crowd is booing you. What is your guess? How many champions are there in League of Legends?
I think about 62.
That's off to everyone is voting. Does anyone else in the audience know? There's a lot that knows. Okay, the answer is 94. You guys are so off. Oh, okay, so we'll keep that at still 1-0. Now question number 3. What was the last champion released? All right.
It was Fiora.
Correct, yay! Okay, so there you have it. It's 2-0. Let's see if you can get this next question right. Fourth question is, how many stops did we have this season for the Intel Extreme Masters? How many stops did we have this season? This past season, so we had... How many tournaments do we have this season?
2.
No. Okay, here, let's hear your guess.
3.
No, okay, we had 6 stops. It was Cologne, Guangzhou, New York, Kiev, Sao Paulo, and here, Hanover, Seabit. You guys knew that though, right? Yeah, they did, all right. Okay, so now it's still 2-0. The next question is, what is the name of Ash's Ultimate? What is the name of Ash's Ultimate? Do you know? Does anyone else in the audience know? Oh, there are plenty of people who know. Do you even play League of Legends, my friend? Okay, so the answer is Enchanted Crystal Arrow. So it turns out you still won, though. You got 2 questions right. Thank you for participating, though. And this shirt is for you, my friend. All right, a big round of applause for our 2 volunteers. Say hi to the camera. Thank you very much, you guys. A big round of applause for them. And now we're going to go on and move to game 2.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the broadcaster booth. I'm David Freak Tierley, joined by D-Man Lee Smith, and together we have one of 2 names. It's up to you guys to decide. You can put D-Man and Freak together and it's Deke, or we could be Freak and D-Man and it's Freeman. It's up to you, Internet. I'm expecting threads everywhere, polls everywhere. You guys get to decide. We've got to do better than Zennington the Casting Yeti. Come on, they have their own image, okay? They got that up there, the Casting Yeti. We need to beat them, and we will. We will persevere. So you guys need to help us out and figure out which one we are. But yes, we are into the game lobby. We have Counterlogic Gaming, going to be blue team. Moscow 5 going to be purple team. Moscow 5 1-0 up in the semifinal. The winner here going to be fighting Dignitas for first place and 50 grand.
And I wonder who they really prefer, Dignitas. You know, obviously CLG they've said a few times, because frankly they've beat them online a few times. But online, offline, it's big thing difference. But
it's true.
You know, CLG are going to have to really pull something out, because they started off so brightly, but they were just trading blows. They were just trading back and forth. And then that little kill, Genja managed to catch on to double lift, I believe it was, just catch him out, and suddenly they took a 3-kill streak, you know, that triple kill, and it turned it. And Moscow 5 are so good at driving home that advantage. Once they sense blood, they smell it. Diamonds in their jungle the second it happens, and there was not a lot, I've got to be honest, that CLG could do about it. And we questioned in the break there, we were saying, you know, hot shots last hit in on Swain, we're not too sure about that. Whether that was down to the fact that he had to give up his top lane experience to double lift, I'm not too sure.
I think it was behind before, because we talked about how, you know, these players who were behind Twisted Fate and the Aurelia, you know, they lost out in lane, but they still kept up in minions. This was, I think, before Hotshot swapped off. He just, you know, without the heavy attack damage build that he gets from his bruisers, I think he's just, I don't know if he's less practiced or what it is, but he doesn't get that same you know, last hit percentage that he gets with every other champion. And you know, this dude has phenomenal mechanics, to be sure, but his Swain is almost not up to his own skill level. It seems that you know, and I think he picks it for the crowd control so he can get ganks and get St. Vicious farmed and shut down the top lane, kind of like what Rain Man does with Teemo from Team Solo Mid. But he's not. He's not getting the same late game that we sort of expect from Hotshot, and you know, Aurelia got ridiculous that game despite going 0-3 at the beginning.
And there's a champion you would love to see.
Yeah.
I saw your face light up when it was trolled the other day, but you actually didn't fall for it. You were like, no, I'm not going for that, not going for it. But yeah, I mean, Double Lift has come into this one. He played very well, but as a Vayne in that game, he struggled a little bit against Genja. Genja is so strong. Now the question is, will Moscow 5 go with that again? They generally pull out the Urgot and they'll use it sort of once. So I'm not too sure they're going to go with that. I think they'll go back to a more traditional AD carry. They use Ashe quite a lot, actually. So whether we're going to see that come out, you know, and how the bottom lane is. And whether, you know, they're going to go for Janna, because like we mentioned earlier, Janna's been one of those high picks. Whether they're going to use that as a first pick this time around, rather than going the AP, actually picking Rise didn't turn out too bad for them.
No, it worked out really well. I think specifically the Urgot Janna lane was a counter lane. I believe the Urgot was grabbed after the Vayne Alistar, and there's no way Vayne Alistar is ever going to beat Urgot Janna. There's just way too much poke there. Alistar cannot get into melee range pre-6 without dying, and so there's no way they could initiate and land a stun combo. And if they ever did, they've got 2 shields to put on Urgot, and Janna's going to be, back, not really taking damage. I mean, that was just a good lane setup right from the start for Moscow 5. And CLG is going to have to think about, well, shoot, there are counter lanes at bot lane. We need to be a little more protective of our picks. We need to grab our top and jungle and support right away and not pick, maybe someone like Alistar so early unless they know they've got a little bit of a safer choice there. But I think Moscow 5 did a phenomenal job in all of their lanes. Aurelia, again, despite getting ganked twice, managed to survive that very, very well. The mid lane ganks, they shut down Twisted Fate with a couple of kills. He did manage to farm quite well for himself, but they got Nocturne some nice farm, and then that bot lane counter lane was just phenomenal. So I don't know if CLG needs to pick different bans. If they're like, well, actually your Nocturne's fine, let's pick other bans now. Maybe we'll get rid of Urgot. They have first pick, so they can maybe take Janna. Maybe they'll get rid of Rise. Who knows? But we're going to find out now as we are into picks and bans. CLG taking first ban here.
Yeah, and something we've also seen a lot of is Gusu Pepper going on Nunu, so we could see a Nunu come out here maybe. So Gangplank being banned straight away. If we're going to go by last game, it'll be Gangplank, Swain, and Lee Sin, I believe, that CLG banned out there. Shyvana, sorry. And Cassiopeia being taken straight out of there. Now, I wonder whether that's just just a generalised ban, or whether he's targeting towards Big Fat LP, because I don't think I've seen Big Fat LP playing Cassiopeia at all in this tournament.
No, I don't know. But they banned her every single game at Kiev as well. But now CLG has first pick, so they can grab Aurelia and shut down another one of those top lane / jungle options. Or, as you saw last time, Moscow 5 took Rise early. I mean, they could have, theoretically, told the future and grabbed like Nocturne Aurelia. Or it's just not even possible to shut down Moscow 5's pick options. But considering they're targeting their jungler right now, you kind of feel like their pick strategy would do the same thing.
Yeah, and the one thing I've always thought of Moscow 5 is the versatility they have. I mean, Alex Itch has literally played jungle, top lane, and mid in all top teams. So he's so versatile. He can play anything in the mid, anything you throw at him. And Rise actually being banned out by Moscow 5 this time. They don't want him to have that. Will we see a Zillion maybe coming out later on for Big Fat LP? Hotshot GG has the first pick here. What's he going to go with? The question is, will it be a Janna? Janna has been available. It's kind of a universal support pick. It actually throws the option back up to Moscow 5. It's like, we want to counter your picks rather than anything else.
And we'll see if, CLG just gives Hotshot something like Aurelia and just says, we think you can beat Darien. No, they're going to grab the fast food here as before. So they've not really denied any Moscow 5 options. They've actually pretty much picked the same early champions that they did as well. I believe they grabbed Udyr and Twisted Fate were their first two picks earlier on. And we're going to see Moscow 5 almost mirror their own champion selections. The Janna's in there. And I think this might be a mistake from CLG to try to mirror match the last game, because they kind of, I think they got outskilled, and maybe they said, okay, our one mistake was just the Swain, and we're going to pick something else, and we'll be fine, whether it's Udyr or Cho'Gath. I have not seen... all right, I'm just going to kind of wait. I mean, I haven't seen Alex play Karthus in quite a while, but the Kennen pick is going to be there, so it's going to be a double AP strat. He's run Vlad before. Top, yeah, I mean, they did Vlad Kennen before. That was very successful for them. They've not lost a game yet, so obviously any strat they ran has won for them, so... again, the immediate Janna grabs we're going to see. They know they're fighting Kennen. They're 90% certain he's going to be top. We're going to see if they have a good counter pick here.
Could be mid. I mean, it's entirely possible. I'm trying to think, like you said, that Vlad Kennen actually was Vlad top, wasn't it? Yeah.
I guess it really could go everywhere, to be fair. Kennen is an open-ended pick for Moscow 5.
But they have run that double Will of the Ancients and the Abyssal Scepter strat before in this tournament, so it is a very strong one, and you know what, it was an unstoppable one earlier on. Wow, okay, locking in Caitlyn very early on now, so the double lift feeling he needs a Caitlyn down the bottom of that, which means we're going to get a Taric maybe with it, or a Soraka, I don't know. It's something that's going to keep the sustain now. I'm kind of expecting Taric here.
I think the fact that Urgot exists means they won't grab a melee support again. I think they learned the lesson from last time where Alistar got shut down really hard. They will not take something like that. They're going to grab the Ahri, which was the leftover ban from last time before they had banned out Ahri. This time they're banning out Rise, and so here. And also it's the first time we're not seeing Rammus ban from Moscow 5. They haven't banned Rammus, and normally they do that. And it's weird. I've seen Rammus do one of two things: be instant banned or be not picked. So it's kind of interesting to see how that works out. Ooh, the Janna Ashe is going to be here. Is it okay? We know you're going to pick a safer lane here because you didn't grab Taric Alistar. We'll go Janna Ashe. We'll kind of rely on our late game, our crowd control. And this did work for Moscow 5 against, I believe it was solo mid. They would Ashe out, and then Kennen would make a beeline for their grab everyone. And I believe this was also the team comp that had Vladimir, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, and then maybe going with that Nocturne again. It worked out very well from last time. They got that double kill on Big Fat LP in the middle there. Genji is a fantastic Ashe player. We saw it quite a few times in Kiev as well. He was phenomenal. I'm interested to see what they're going to have up the top lane. Whether that's going to be the top or the mid, I'm just not too sure. And are CLG going to go with a more of a tankier team again. They have got quite good damage there with Big Fat LP. There's going to be a lot of maneuverability. So what sort of thing would you expect it to go? We could see a Mordecai's come out here again.
Yeah, I mean, there's two good things for CLG here. So one, I think they pretty much have all the lanes predicted, that they know what the bottom lane is, and you know, they know what the top lane is. They can send Meteor to the jungle, and so they can pretty much safely pick the rest of their lineup because the only sort of counter pick left is mid. And yeah, as you mentioned, Galio is absolutely an option here. I don't know if Galio is the best champion to sort of lock up a Caitlyn, but maybe it doesn't matter. They just, well, we have enough damage because we have Ashe and Kennen that's fine. We'll just, you know, grab Galio and hold everyone together. But you know, we'll see CLG's picks. I mean, it could be a top lane or a jungler here. It's going to be their support as well. And there's a lot of options open here. I mean, they could even go for a poke strat here. They could grab Trundle. They could let that. Now they're going to grab Nuni here with Caitlyn. I'm surprised at this melee support pick. And it's going to be Cho top lane. They really, really want Hotshot to win his lane. He is definitely a great Cho'Gath player. We've not seen Cho very often this tournament. We've seen him a couple of times. But if that's going to be the pick here, they're again pretty much picking triple melee into Janna, which still is something they did against Dignitas and it didn't work out. They picked it here against Moscow 5 in game 1. It didn't work out. It scares me a little bit here, but we'll see how this ends up working.
And I'm not too sure about that Cho'Gath versus Ken on top lane. I'm not 100% convinced about that. That's assuming Kennen will be top lane. It is going to be Vlad, so it's going to be Vlad in the top lane. So it's going to be that double Will of the Ancients strategy if Genja does lock that final Vlad in, which actually is a very damaging team right there.
Yep, they're going for this AoE comp. It's almost the exact same setup as last time, and they're going for, you know, this double AP Will the Ancient setup here. Vladimir and Kennen going to be pretty much wrecking the whole team. Whenever Ashe lands an arrow, they can okay, now I'm just going to make sure I'm not getting trolled or anything, but if they can land an Ashe arrow, they have the Nocturne ult that can follow in. They've got a Janna AoE knockup and slow that can follow in. The Kennen can dive in with his ult, land a bunch of stuns, etc. I really don't think Shaco could be the pick. I mean, it's certainly a possibility. I've seen top lane Nocturne played before. I've seen AP Shaco played before, so who knows? But there we go, back up to Vladimir, the likely lock-in. And this is all kinds of interesting lineup here. I like Moscow 5's lineup a lot better than last time. Of course, it worked for him last time, so I can't really hate. But this double AP lineup worked against solo mid. They're definitely going to be in really good shape here. Nocturne did work out for him in the first game. Moscow 5 looks awesome.
Yeah. They do look awesome, and it is a highly damaging strategy. Like you say, it's going to be that double of Will of the Ancients almost certainly up the top there. And you mentioned that, I mean, they've let them have Janna again. They used Udyr as the first pick, so St. Vicious is obviously saying, okay, this worked out quite well in the top lane. We managed to harass Darian. He's not going to be able to get on him so much this time. Actually, interestingly enough, he hasn't gone with Ghost, though, on Vlad. He's gone with the Flash instead. A lot of people tend to use Ghost. You can pull up Ghost away, slide away slowly.
really fast.
Yeah, very fast. But, you know, St. Vicious works very well within ganks, but it's going to... I'm not sure how that's going to work. Hotshot's going to have to land that silence, and he's going to get in the stun, and then he's going to have to quickly burst that damage out on him. Whether they're going to maybe try and get to the gank in the mid, but there's that mid and top lane are very hard to capture with Kennen and Vlad.
Yeah, it's going to be hard for them to land these ganks. St. Vicious once again on Udyr. I did like his Udyr last game. It ganked really, really well. And they've actually got a really similar thing at top lane here. Okay, they're fighting Vladimir this time. It's going to be harder than Aurelia, but Hotshot's got Rupture very, very similar to the Never move on Swain, and they've still got Udyr running out there. And actually, it's even easier to gank Purple team at top lane. The map layout is you know, such that you can actually get around and behind that little strip of land and get in even stronger ganks than before. And Udyr does need to clear into melee range. That said, Vlad can camp in the brush and be a lot harder to hit for the first couple seconds there. And maybe that's going to be enough to get him out. Of course, he does have Troll Pool as well. But we'll see. I think Hotshot can probably zone him out for the first few levels. Actually, he did switch over to Ghost here, so Vlad actually is back to heal Ghost and just wanting to play very safely and survive for a long, long time, and then late game carry it through.
So you're still going with CLG on this one?
I mean, I want to see the third game go through, so I want to see CLG take this one over. I think Moscow 5 looks really, really strong in this lineup, so if I had to predict, I'd say Moscow 5, but I'm hoping for a 1-1 right here.
Yeah, so we'll get into the game shortly, but, well, who do you think is going to win it? Moscow 5 or CLG, ladies and gentlemen? We are going in towards the second match of the semi-finals. Moscow 5 picked up a very good game in the first game, but, well, who do you think is going to win it, guys? Give it a cheer.
Hi everybody, welcome back to the game. Following Hotshot coming out of base, going through the CLG lineup right here. It's going to be actually running towards bottom lane, if they're actually going to initially pick up their lane assignments, this could be a lane swap here. I know we did see, I forget which team it was, I think it was actually Moscow 5 run top lane Misfortune to counter lane of Vladimir. And of course it worked for the Moscow 5, have not lost a game yet, and it looks like they're sending, CLG are sending their AD carry towards this top lane, this Caitlyn. First point in traps, and gonna be trying to poke out Darian. Chester, a lot of wards, 4 wards, 1 potion, Fairy Charm. Took some damage from Alex, you gotta be a little bit careful there, but otherwise looks pretty safe. A lot from Moscow 5 near bottom, so looks like they're unaware of the lane swap. Hotshot definitely camping this Tribush. Looks pretty safe for himself. We'll see this manifest. Actually want to look at Darian's build real fast, see what his opening grab here. Looks like deep defense tree and 4% cooldown reduction from offense. And yeah, some magic pen, etc. So actually defense tree Vladimir going to be kind of an interesting build here for Darian.
So, I mean, let's give a quick rundown of these teams. It is going to be Moscow 5. Taking this one 1-0 at the moment. They're looking very strong, and I'm not sure CLG going to have it in them. Anyway, let's give you a quick rundown. You can see it is going to be Hotshot GG. He will be at the top on Cho'Gath. Same Vicious here on your screens. He is as the Phoenix Stance Udyr at the moment. And Big Fat LP helping him with that blue pull will be going as Ari. Down the bottom lane is going to be Chowster and Double If. That will be Nunu and Caitlyn. And actually,
nope.
Actually,
double swap.
Nope. It's going to be a change around from CLG. And actually, you know, Moscow 5 already saw that, and they've already switched it up. So whether that's a case of reacting to it or I didn't see which one actually started off the swap. But for Moscow 5, it will be Alex Ich in the middle. He is going to be on Caitlyn. On Caitlyn. Kennen is the one I'm after. Diamonds is in the jungle on Nocturne. Just keeping my eye on where the first 100% crit shot was going to go from Genja, but he did use it on a minion. Didn't want to let him lose out too much. He is going to have Gosu Pepper with him, we assume, unless he's going to start go roaming with craziness. But down the bottom it will be Darian, who has switched to be against Cho'Gath down the bottom there. Now the reason for normally for the two down the bottom is obviously getting a bit more coverage on that Dragon, but both these teams can react very quickly, so I don't think it's going to make a great deal of difference. The blue control is definitely going to be changed up a bit.
Yeah, we'll see what Hotshot's going to keep farming up. He's doing a very good job last hitting. This top lane actually, Double Lift harassing a bit on the Genja. The Ice Blast coming out as well. Double Lift actually losing a bit of health there, but does have that 1 extra health potion. His Q does go out and smack Genja in the face, so the health advantage slightly in Double Lift's favor. We'll see if they can keep this pressure going. Now with Blood Boil as well, if they could press in onto Genja. Really good shields though, keeping that harass from doing too much to him.
So just keeping my eye down the bottom lane. It looks like Darian's a little bit too pushed though. St. Vicious is coming down. Not too sure what the plan was there. He's just sort of comes out and goes, I'm going to steal some of your CS. I'm off CS.
Oh, I think they want to swap back. So he cleared the wave, pushed to the turret and said, okay, Hotshot, go recall. And you can see Double Lift as well, using Q pretty much on cooldown. And just, you can see he's auto-attacking, he's got Blood Boil on. Of course, he'll stop till last hit, but you can see he's just trying to push the lane out so that they can get the lane swap going.
Yeah, so he's just forcing it through. Meanwhile, I can see Diamonds has got a peek in towards the middle, but doesn't go for it. Instead, he's going to go up towards possibly the jungle. No, he's just going to go back and say, you know what, we don't know where they are. So, as you mentioned, they are going to switch back around. And you can see Cho'Gath now back up the top there with that lane push. So, nice little switcheroo there. And Moscow 5 yet to react to it. So, question is, who would be better 2v1? I think Vlad's actually probably going to be better off. He's already up to level 4. Yeah, once he starts hitting them higher levels, he can just quite happily farm up 2v1.
But even at level 9 or so, all you have to do is camp the brush as Nunu. Vlad has to get within 600 range to last hit anything. And whether he can blood pool or not, he's immediately going to be zoned out. CLG, with Hotshot, he could just use Rupture and Feral Scream. And even if he doesn't do a great job, he gets his health back as well. So they both, will be able to regain some health. But Cho has a greater sort of range from which to last hit, and that's going to help him out quite a bit.
Yeah, so you can see that Ash has gone back. Genja is bought a Thorn's Blade, and Darian, well, he's going to have to back away. He has been slowed up. St. Vicious is going to try and run in and close around him. Has got the exhaust down, will pull away from that stun, but the stun's almost certainly going to land. I think Darian might be first blood here. Had to use his heal, but he will not get away, and Dominif will pick up the first blood for Counter Logic Gaming. Very nicely done. Was a little slow to react to changes there.
Yeah, I think he could have ghosted a bit sooner as well, but a great job by CLG. That gank was phenomenal. Troll pool, not enough to get him out of there. And you can see the double lane swap coming back again. M5 going to put Ash and Janna back at bottom. And death is one way to get back to your base. You can go to top lane, but I think the least efficient of the methods.
Yeah, it's not the ideal method. And Ash now trying his best to actually pick up the last hits. Howling Gale will go across, but double F laying down a bit of damage on towards Gosu Pepper there. Meanwhile, the middle lane has actually been pushed fairly heavily by Alex here against Big Fat LP. CS-wise is 25 to 41, so you can see Alex with quite a big advantage in that middle lane at the moment, but that's immediately countered. Darian does go down, put that ward down. St. Vicious is going to spot that and just back straight away. So, okay, I've got 3-minute mark before I start going up that route again. Meanwhile, Hotshot trying to freeze the lane there before he gets to the tower, and Darian's like, no, I'm not going to let you do that, just standing there. So he's going to try and farm it up. But Hotshot GG, like you mentioned, he can farm quite happily. That was Cho'Gath here against Darian.
Yep, Hotshot's going to... Oh, what's up?
No, it's all right. I thought St. Vicious were going to dive in the middle, but he didn't go for it.
Now, Kennen now should be level 6, which is going to make diving very difficult. That ult going to trigger enough to stun any 2 champions, so would be difficult for a gank to succeed there.
Looking
bot lane, Double F actually doing a really good job of being aggressive here. You're going to see he constantly pokes at Genja. Genja has that Doran's Blade Summoner heal as well, so he should be pretty safe in general. But Double F, you can see again running cleanse without any obvious things to cleanse aside from Asher, which, okay, that's an obvious thing to cleanse, so never mind. It's like there's nothing to cleanse in that team. Then I look down and it's like, oh right, Ash stuns. But still, you know, not really relying on getting into these, you know, bruiser fights. Sorry, who? Janna?
Kennen.
Oh yeah, okay, fine, Kennen. Also exhaust, also Janna has a slow. But you know, I was looking at Nocturne and Vlad, and I was like, nothing really. And then look at the rest of the lineup, and then it was just wrong the whole time.
Yeah. So Hotshot actually been a little bit harassed by Darian up there. He's quite happy to have him in the middle lane. And Darian, despite being killed early on, has got that amplifying tome. Hotshot went back and put himself a cloth to go with those boots, is going to port back. This is something Hotshot used to do a lot of Gamescom. He just push a lane a little bit and then just go back and buy very quickly, constantly doing it, and we're having a switcheroo again.
Yep, they're going to swap back for the counter lane, and it worked last time. They got a kill, so and here Darian, I mean, they could have sent Udyr up there without red buff. Maybe they don't want to try it just yet, but well, I guess they do have ward coverage this time around. Darian has that ward right there in the river. They would spot St. Vicious for the most part coming out.
Now they're going to react to it. Yes, they have. You can see Ash already gone back. Darian needs to be careful. Actually pops his ulti on Double F and says, you know what, I'm going to have plenty of time to turn around. I'm going to try and do as much damage to you as possible. You can see it's not a great deal. And Darian will go back and switch it up and go back down towards the bottom there. Let's have a look towards the gold. You can see he's actually at 680 gold. He will get himself a second amplifying tome. Again, just back just in time to pick up these wave of minions coming towards him. Diamond's picking up the red buff now, and actually this switching is causing him problems because you would normally expect him to see him go for a gank by now, but we are 8.5 minutes into this one, so maybe CLG employing a pretty clever tactic here to prevent Moscow 5's ganks.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, they're so far untouchable, and you kind of see the Nocturne is not able to do too much to them. He is finally 6 now. Maybe he'll just go for it. But we'll see. I mean, there's good traps, etc. Hotshot's just kind of at his turret all the day, so it's not going to do too much to him. You can see that the minion counts 70 to 58. Double F is winning these sort of trades here.
So just keeping my eye on Darian back down the bottom. He's pushed in. Like I say, Nocturne was there, but he is going to port back. We saw Udyr going back as well. Udyr actually getting the Oracle fairly early on there. So it's going to be hurting a little in gold, and he's going to try and pick up as many wards as he can to cover it, clear them out. Darian, no, look at that. Darian being very aggressive on Hotshot, forcing him back, trying to keep him away from the CS, and it's working out quite well for him so far. So Hotshot needs to try and maybe switch it up again. He had gone for that Flowstone early on though, so that will help him out. Meanwhile, Darian's going for that Hextech Revolver. Double F though is doing a fantastic job at the top here, which is a little switch around. Like I say, he's got a 16 CS or 14 CS advantage. Triple Doran's Blade though for Genja though. Meanwhile, Double Lift has gone for that ward back down the bottom. You can see Darian again having a little poke towards Hotshot, but he's got that lifesteal. He can keep just drawing it straight back. We did see Bigger Fat LP though again picking up his own blue there. And Udyr now, is he going to go for an invade and try and help them out? Is he going to try and steal one away? No, because Diamond's already picked it up.
Saint doing a great job of clearing wards though, which means that he can get a lot of pressure here. He's waiting near to Darian, he's recalling, but Darian sitting away from his minion wave. They didn't know he was actually that far back after him. They didn't have a ward near him, so let that one go. Double Lift still pushing up at the top lane, and it's kind of a good thing for CLG that Cho'Gath and Caitlyn are out CSing their lane opponents, because Big Fat LP very far behind Alex and minions right now. And they're going to have to rely on, I think, Kennen to get their victory right now, because nothing else is winning for them.
Yeah. Darian's not doing a too bad a job down the bottom here, despite getting caught out early. And he is closing on a level 9, almost got that X-Tech revolver already. And Hotshot's actually being forced away again. 81 CS, 252-3 though, like you say, it is a pretty hefty difference. But he still feels like he's got that lane control. But yeah, as you mentioned, Alex each almost got that Willie the Ancients already complete. Once they get that double combo, it's going to do a lot of damage when it comes into them team fights. Obviously, both can be getting straight in now. Alex is going to be throwing his ulti across them, and then it's going to be followed straight up by Vlad. I'm just keeping my eye on St. Vicious again down the bottom here. Darian is going to push forward, but St. Vicious backing away. He doesn't want to go through anything too crazy. Diamond also hanging around, but Big Fat LP, he's not going too far up lane, and really, you know, it's a very hard character to pin down, Ari. He can just zip away from any gank attempts.
Yeah, they're not able to get too much done here. Double Up just finishing pushing the wave up to the turret. Genja should last hit there, but looks like Udyr coming around the backside on Vladimir. Might be good timing. There's Darian coming into the fray. Ghost being used. There's a silence speed. St. Vicious should land that stun. Does get that just in time. How can they do enough damage? The Feast being used as well. Darian still has pool. There's the... Yep, there's the pool. He's going to get himself out of there. That had burned his Ghost, so you never know what might happen there. Ashar comes across. Does not quite land a big fat LP. That would have been enough for a kill. He did survive that encounter.
So the pings went down as well. Warned him that he was coming down. So I'm not too sure whether Alex could have burst him down quite quick enough. But Darian managed to escape that one. Has got that Hex Tech, building towards Willie the Ancient. So double of Willie the Ancient's very nearly complete by Moscow 5. Meanwhile, BF Sword has been picked up by Big Fat LP. Big Fat LP was caught out, sorry, no, the double if, sorry, the BF Sword. Let's have a look towards that top. And St. Vicious just covering off for Big Fat LP. Expect him to go back and buy. So double lift has got that BF Sword, like I mentioned. And Ash up to 100 CS, up to 109, so very even between these two still, despite all the switching that's been going on. Again, just having to actually pick up the jungle while Diamond is away. The ping's just gone down from CLG on towards the Dragon. Whether that's a case of they want a clairvoyance on it. Diamonds is hanging around saying, are you actually going to come and get this Genja or Alex? But I think he's just going to take it away from himself again. So yeah, no need for it. And Kenan will make his way down. They've just pinged onto Alex, so they're well aware of this one. And they can see he's pulled out. Darian is down the bottom here, but I think they may well go for the cheeky Dragon. I'm not sure if CLG want to contest it though.
Yeah, no one's making the move for it just yet. CLG doesn't even have map vision, so they have no idea, which is odd because they're one of the early oracles, but you know, they don't really have wards in many places. So there is the Dragon pickup there. Ash actually getting the last hit. Looks like 19 minutes and change going to be the respawn timer there. And despite the Dragon, though, CLG's still up 1,000 gold. Of course, First Blood was part of that. Nice ult there from Ghost Pepper, still taking damage from Double Lift. Down to 400 health, but looks like he'll make it out. Chowster going to zone him away and deny all the experience gain here, which is pretty smart.
Yeah, that Blood Boil working very well, and that tower is going to go down. So Double Lift just completely hammering that down. There was not a lot that Ghosty Pepper could do about it. Obviously, his AD carry had gone down the bottom. Actually, I don't think he was needed down there because CLG were never looking like they were going to contest it. Darian, though, is starting to actually pick up his farm a little bit here. He's going to have to go some to catch up with Hotshot, but he is starting to close that gap. It is a 30 CS difference, though, which is pretty big at this level of the game. 30 minutes in. Meanwhile, well, I'm never too sure about whether it's worth taking the towers down early or not. It's always good to take a tower, takes the vision away from the enemy team, but it also frees up the lane.
Yeah, it can kind of make it a little bit harder to gank the lane because they're so farther away from your typical entrance points. That said, if the lane does come back, then they have no tower to run to, and it becomes easier. Of course, the gold advantage there as well, pretty important. Looks like actually Kate Nuna coming over for Darian. Oh, he lands the Rupture of the Silence as well. This is really, really bad for Darian. He's been exhausted now, and there comes the troll pool, but everyone is around him. A Nunu ult goes by as well. Chefs are trying for it. Didn't quite need it, but who cares? Pick up the kill, and looks like they're going to go for maybe another tower push. Maybe that's why they actually pushed the tower earlier and said, hey, we're all going to leave to go gank bottom. Let's go move. Let's go stop Vlad while we can. Chefs are actually taking some damage here. He's got to be a little bit careful. Only 400 health to spare, but yeah, a second turret now for CLG. They gave away the Dragon, but they're like, hey, we can just kill Vladimir and push your base. And this is actually a really interesting strategy here, is basically they said, hey, Caitlyn, you have way more AD than Ash. Let's push while our advantage is still really, really massive. Because you can see the team count for Moscow 5 is super, super late game. Actually, a little bit of aggression here. St. Vicious getting away from Diamonds. And again, they're going for more turrets, so CLG relying on just a lot of early game pressure, and that's doing a whole lot. Oh, wow, sorry about that, guys. Alex picking up a kill in the mid lane against Ari. But I like the strat from CLG. They're just going for early pressure. They built themselves a 3,000 gold lead from this, and I expect them to keep going.
Yeah, they are going to keep going. Sorry, I didn't bother interrupting you there. He was pretty much dead as soon as I flicked to it, so there's not much point. But yeah, Big Fat LP getting caught out in that middle by Kennen. So Kennen now with that Willie the Ancient. Vlad also with the Willie the Ancient. So will that make a difference for them? You'd assume it would do. And Alex actually taking a couple of hits from that tower, as is Darian. So they don't want to go too aggressive on that one. Trying to lay down a bit of damage on towards St. Vicious. They really want to dive and get rid of that Oracles. It's been causing them problems. Trying to clear out those wards every time they place them in River. And Darian, well, you know what? He doesn't care if he's been ganked twice. He's still going to keep pushing up this lane. And Double Lift is not going to let him get anywhere near it. You can see he's done 0 damage to it. It's on full health, that bottom turret, which is a pretty big difference. And the top lane, that's pretty much full health as well. So CLG have done a really good lane strategy here, actually using up the switching, which Moscow 5 generally do.
Yeah, but now it's Vlad solo bot against these two. And John in mid, I like the strat. John, I'm going to farm up mid, get really farm this game, and crush faces with the death cap.
Hey, you may mock it, but we saw Reginald doing it at Gamescom.
That's fair, okay. Did they win?
They did.
Okay.
Well, no, they won that game, but not overall, obviously. CLG won that one. But Cho'Gath has switched it back up. But Genji's been farming for quite a while at the top here, quite happily while this is all happening. 135 CS to Double Lift's 153. So he is still behind a bit, but he is starting to manage to catch up. He's actually going with a different strategy. Yeah, Hawk shot in Cho'Gath there, making sure he backs away. We've got Darian actually being closed in on here by St. Vicious. He's realised it and already backed up out of position. He's like, yeah, I'm pretty sure there's something going on here, so I'm just going to back away. Genji meanwhile having to keep him at bay, and St. Vicious now thinking, can I get around the backside of Alex? Probably not. It's not the ideal thing to go for. Instead he continues to clear out the wards, and he is going to back away, but they have a push down this bottom. You know what, they've got to be careful Double Lift doesn't get caught out here, because I think a Darian and Nocturne combo could probably take Double Lift down there.
Yeah, I think it's possible there. And actually, I'm surprised because Double Lift had that Oracles. He walked right by a ward in the river and kind of let it go. And that's why Darian had backed off from him before. And, you know, St. Vicious, if you're going to do that kind of ganking, you've got to at least throw the wards you walk by because they will run away from you. Oh, my gosh, the near miss on that Ash arrow, Big Fat LP in mid. They've tried, I think, 3 to 4 times now to land these Ash arrows into kills. And the great reflexes from this Ari player, keeping him alive. Otherwise, the score could be like 2-4 or 2-5 instead of 2-1.
Yeah. As long as we go in this game, the more fed Hotshot is going to get. And he's starting to become a big monster, as it were. He has that Glacial Shroud already. Oh, back in towards the middle. You can see Kennen actually having to use his ulti to try and escape from this one. Alex is, and then Janna ulti. Monsoon goes down. Alex will drop, though. Gosu Pepper's going to follow. And this is a great dive from CLG here, getting straight on towards him. And that will be the final outer turret there. And Diamonds can do nothing about this one. You know, Genji's been completely kept out of this game up that top line. Hotshot actually teleporting down, I believe, down towards that bottom to stop Darian pushing. And the inner turret is going to go down for CLG as well here. They are really driving forward. And it's actually turned into a pretty strong push strat.
Yeah, Nunu Kate is doing a lot of great things there. And because he got ahead of
Darian's going to get caught.
Because he got ahead of
Charm very nicely, and wow, completely caught there by Big Fat LP. That will be another kill. 5-1 to CLG. And they are really looking very strong in this game.
Well, that was phenomenally good by them. They got 3 unanswered kills right now. Looks like 2 unanswered turrets, or even 3 unanswered turrets might be the response for that. And CLG putting on a clinic with this game right now. They've, you know, even Big Fat LP, who actually got behind in his lane, was still incredibly instrumental in those fights earlier. The Charm's coming out. This could be scary for them. Hotshot tanking and not caring too much. Traps coming out as well from Caitlyn. Ash, though, has rejoined, and this could be a little bit scary for CLG, but Kennen ult still down for 40 seconds. They would need that if they wanted to make a comeback right here, as CLG is all about half health.
Yeah, they've got that arrow up, but they haven't gone for anything there. I thought Genji maybe was going to jump onto something, but they obviously didn't feel they had the damage. Nocturne continues to chase Diamonds. It's like, come on, guys, we can do something here. We can get these guys. They're not completely backing away. They've actually pinged it and said, you know what, I think they're here. Dragon is up. Will CLG contest this one? They feel they're pretty strong. Not too sure they've got the hit points and mana to do it, but they are going to go for it. Remember, the crystalline arrow is up. Whether we're going to see it popping straight out, no. Howling Gale will go across. They're going to continue to try and pull away that Dragon. Alex will pick that up, and now they're going to try and get a chase, and you can see the arrow going across. Wow, that was a horrific arrow. Completely missing CLG. I'm not even sure what he was aiming at. They'd already split apart way before he even shot it.
Yeah, well, they don't have any map vision that far down, though, is the thing. You look at the Moscow 5 map vision, and it's pretty much 0. Saint, with that early Oracles, still has not died. And well, that's going to be really good for you when you keep sweeping wards the whole game like that. So Blind Arrow did not manage to land anything, and then they're like, okay, well, at least we got Dragon. Then Moscow 5 did get Dragon for that, and they're going to get the first turret kill of the game as well, so they're getting themselves slightly back into it, even if just fortunately.
So that is a tower, and that's just something. They are 5k behind in gold. Moscow 5, remember, picking up that first game, so it would make things all square if CLG were to take this one, but it is very early days, and there could easily be a quick Baron swap kill, and the ping has gone down on Baron from CLG here, so Moscow 5 are actually in the area though, so they have a little bit of coverage, and now they're going to see St. Vicious taking out that ward, so they're going to see that they've actually pulled in. Moscow 5 are in position. Actually, they are. The only person missing is going to be the support player of Gosu Pepper. He's going to get in there. The ward gets placed again. This Baron already down half health. Volley goes across. They do have a Hawk shot available. Alex coming in. Diamond's going to dive in with the ulti. Alex dives in, follows. They haven't got it down towards Smite ability, so that Alex is just going to get caught out. Chowster taken out very low. Chowster will not get picked up though. Darian instead is going to go very low. Darian just about hanging on in the monsoon. Genji will get taken out. CLG surviving beautifully in amongst that fight. What a superb kill. And they will just let Gosu Pepper go and go back to pick up that Baron. Wow, a 4-for-1 there. That is a clear victory for CLG.
They might
Absolutely
be too low.
Very strong.
Combat Janna, I mean, I called it before. Combat Janna might just crush their faces. Chowster getting really low. Janna could actually get this one. Oh my gosh, come on. I want this kill. Please, Gosu Pepper. I believe in you. You can do this. There's one kill on St. Vicious. Almost get the second. No, Chowster's going to survive. But the Baron could kill double it. And I think she has assist credits on everyone. And looks like Big Fat going to get really low. Almost drops down to Baron. That was really close. Okay, CLG, pick up Baron. I wanted that to happen, kind of. That'd have been fun.
But Hotshot did manage to spawn and get that Baron up. It was very close, actually, there. So we're seeing desperation moves. That's when the brilliant spots start coming out. And we do have the Abyssal Scepter, though, on Alex. And the Roiler's nearly complete. You can see Genja has got the Infinity Edge. Doublelift had that Infinity Edge a long time ago. He's now got the Zeal on there as well. 189 CS, looking very strong. And the question is, you know, can they do anything about this huge Colossus dinosaur that is Hotshot GG, or Alien, I guess I should say. It's not technically a dinosaur, is it? He just needs to build his stacks up of Feast. That's the one I'm after. He's down to 4. Obviously did die in that fight, but shouldn't take him too long. But what are Moscow 5 going to do about this? They've just missed out on the Baron. They're going to have to turtle it something chronic. They're already into their own base. I'm not too sure if there's any way out of this for them.
Well, they do have a good AoE late game comp. The unfortunate thing is Darian is not having a good game right here. He's only got 170 ability power. He's only level 13. And, I mean, that's the same level as the duo AD of Doublelift right there. So that is not a good place to be in if you're this Vladimir. He's going to try to catch up. You can see they're leaving him this bottom lane to farm. Moscow 5 running across their own jungle and picking up some more of these, you know, some more golden experience, which they do desperately need. But I think the longer this game goes on, I think the better chance they have, especially if they can actually land an Ash Arrow. I think he's pretty much 0 for 5 on Genicos. I didn't even see what happened with the Ash Arrow at the Baron fight, but it seemed to not do a whole heck of a lot. So if Genja, you know, Genja has an Infinity Edge now, he's going to be a very scary guy. I mean, he's behind a Phantom Dancer, to be sure, but I mean, they have the ability to deal a lot of damage here, and we'll just see if they can actually get themselves, you know, a free pick or two, because they have some good CC on this team.
So the blue buff has spawned. They're going to go back across. Actually, they're going to try and catch out Hotshot. No, he's backed away fair enough from that distance, and he's just going to quite happily go. Meanwhile, CLG, I think, are going to take this top turret before Moscow 5 react. St. Vicious already in there. They have cleared that wave, and they are going to go straight towards. You can see Janna, the only one that's actually responded, not going to be able to do a great deal. So this is going to be the final inner turret going down. CLG are just going to tank that one up to start with, and that will be Doublelift hammering away. It will go down very quickly before anyone can react. And that was a little sloppy from Moscow 5 not to react to that push along the top there. So now they have a wave of minions coming in the top. Meanwhile, you can see that Darian is having a fight with Hotshot GG. I'm not too sure how this one's going to go. You can see a Baron up Hotshot is feeling very strong. Looks like he's already used the feast on him. So actually, no, he's got it still available. He could try and get in there. Oh, and he just pulls away from the rupture there. And that would have been Darian, I think, dead. I'm trying to see how much that feast would do. It would be, no, it's only just over 500 at the moment, so wouldn't quite been enough. He had to get another 500 hit points off him. Moscow 5 now have to deal with this top push. It is a Baron top push as well. And you know what? This is going to be a do or die move if CLG go for it, but I don't think they're going to push it yet. I'm not too sure they're quite confident enough to push onto a tower. especially with Hotshot split.
Yeah, well, the one thing they will do, though, is Hotshot has Summoner Teleport, so it's their age-old strategy of Hotshot pushes bottom, the rest of the team pushes top, and if you really, really have to, Summoner TP up there, or use a Shen ult, or just beat Udyr and don't care. But right now, Hotshot, I mean, just, yeah, again, forcing Darian to use that blood pool, get himself out of the way, and here comes more of CLG, though St. Piss running across, and there's Nunu and Caitlyn, big fellow P there as well. Volley slowed them down slightly, but they're still ready to go into this fight. This turret is low, 718 health. Another mini wave will be here soon. Double lift AoE spamming those out. And we'll see what they can do. Another rupture comes out that's going to land on Darian. They will not follow through with anything yet.
No, and Moscow 5 would be crazy to actually lurch the way out of this. They need to just let CLG come at them. They have that Baron still. It's got...
just timed out.
Just timed out, yeah, literally as I looked at it. So the Baron buff now gone. And Darian, well, he keeps getting picked away, but he's obviously got that life steal straight away. He can just try and hive that damage back. And actually, CLG trying to draw Moscow 5 out, trying to say, yeah, we'll fight you away from that turret. But I don't think Moscow 5 are going to fall for it. We have seen some crazy dives from teams before, and you just think, what are you doing? Why did you do that? But yeah, I don't think they're going to fall for it. You can see the top lane is actually kind of dealing with itself at the moment. There will be another wave of minions coming in shortly. CLG going to try to maybe follow this up. It doesn't matter, because Double Lift, every time he gets in there, he's getting a single shot on towards that tower and slowly chipping away at it.
Yep, they've got about 5 waves to go until that fully falls off. 29 and change.
Surely.
29 and change is going to be that Baron respawn. It looks like CLG going to let this go for now. They do not have a Shurellias that I can tell. Looks like Nunu went for a fast Aegis instead, so relying on combat strength and not so much on the mobility. But Dragon's back up, and CLG is like, I'm surprised actually, because CLG knows they're stronger than them, but doesn't want to go for the fight here. So they really, really, really just do not want to press any unfortunate circumstances. I'm surprised they were more willing to fight under a turret than near Dragon, but they will recall back. They will buy some new items. Looks like they were pretty individually rich. Oh, and of course Cho, in response to Dragon, goes for a turret.
Yeah, he was teleported up there, but I think that's a mistake. He's going to get caught out. They were quick to react to this one. The arrow, flashes just away from it. Alex is actually going in towards a trap as well. Nocturne will get on him. The fear will go off eventually. No, he manages to use it with a rupture, but Hotshot GG completely cut out of position. I'm not too sure who made that call, but I don't think it was the right one to do, and Moscow 5 will happily pick up a free kill. It took 5 of them to get onto that big beastie, but he did manage to go down. I got to question that call.
Yeah, it ended up being a huge mistake. Now, thankfully for CLG, they've still got a minute and a quarter till Baron, so they're not going to give away the game against all authority style. But this is not looking too happy for them, as the buff's going to come back into Moscow 5's favor. They had full map control, and now Moscow 5 are going to pick everything back up for themselves. Ari just got her own blue buff, but I think Moscow 5 should be coming back before too long. Now, CLG is still in the advantage here, but I think both teams have a shot for sure in this game. The gold lead was almost 10,000. It's down only to about 7,000 now, and I mean, chopping down to 3,000 gold lead takes some effort, and Moscow 5 have done that so far, and they can keep up on that trend.
Yeah, you just look at the gold difference. You can see Caitlyn is 2,000 gold ahead of his compadre, which is Genja on Ashe. 5-0-5 double lift at the moment. Played a very good game. Has got that Phantom Dancer Infinity Edge and Quicksilver Sash now completed. Meanwhile, you can see that an easily large rod actually picked up by Darian there, so sort of was going towards Arylas and then actually switched and go, yeah, actually I could do with a bit more ability power now. I think I've got the money to go for it. So kind of sort of caught in between at the moment. May have actually been wiser to complete the Arylas, I think, first, but nevertheless, they are far better players than I am, so I'm not going to question any builds. We do see Force of Nature just being bought there by Cho'Gath, so obviously going towards it, and Arylas has been complete by Big Fat LP, so they are all back, they are getting ready. The Baron has spawned, so ready and waiting for this fight. You can see M5 doing their best to actually push all the lanes out. Diamonds is picking up that blue buff. I don't think he's going to give it to anyone. He's going to take it for himself. CLG, they've bought up, they're ready for a big fight here. However, Hotshot is down on feats. He's only got 2 feats on him at the moment, so he's not going to be quite so big and scary.
I want to take a quick second as we have here the teams getting ready for what might be a final, could be a final fight in the near future. But I see we actually have all the seats around here filled and everyone actually standing up in rows, blocking the passageways. Guys, everyone in Hanover, can I please have you guys cheer for yourselves for being here today for the semifinal match? You guys are awesome. I love you all.
You just had to, didn't you?
I did.
You feel like a rock star now, I'm sure.
No, not for myself. It's for these players. I'm just here to talk about how good they are, or to laugh at their mistakes against All Authority and Dignitas. But seriously, I mean, this is so fun to be here, and thank you guys for making League what it is. And I'll get off my soapbox now and talk about the game. And St. Vicious leading the charge for CLG, pushing up through Hotshot, not learning his lessons, pushing the right-hand side. Oh my gosh, they might catch up on Darian. They're jumping after. There's the flash stun from St. Vicious. The Randu is used as well, but the whole team is here. Monsoon has used Ashwold's save arrow. And Hotshot running back towards mid. Got to be a little bit afraid of Diamonds and Alex, though.
But a couple of ultis were used up there, and that was kind of forced as well. And all CLG used was a single flash to actually cause that. So Monsoon already down. I think Vlad pulled away, so he didn't have to use anything too drastically. But Monsoon is quite a big one. And like you mentioned, they're going to dive in towards Hotshot GG. They will get the fear proc off. The Ashley Harrow will finally land. I mean, it couldn't really miss that time around. Hallie Gale will go across, and actually going to put CLG in a little bit of problems now because they are one man down with the Baron spawn. Moscow 5 are going to try and drive this one forward. You talked about the Baron steal that we had earlier on. Some of the change arounds we've had in these fights. Could this be the moment for Moscow 5? I don't think CLG are going to surely let them just take this one away quite freely. You can see CLG are going to move in towards it. It has been knocked down. It is already half health, so CLG are going to have to get in there. Will they peel off in time to go for the right thing? It is going to be the Kennen ulti they need to do. You can see Alex is just off at the side, wants to try and land those shurikens. His double F they're going to go for. Does manage to land the ulti. Will Vlad get in time? He will do. Big Fat LP is going to get away from that one. Meanwhile, you can see the rest of the team getting caught out. Genja actually being focused by St. Vicious. St. Vicious will go down though. Double lift, and Big Fat LP can do nothing about this one. Chowster will just about flash away from the fear, and Moscow 5 cleverly turn around and go back towards Baron. This could be a turning point, and it's not the turning point CLG wanted to see.
Yep, they're going to go from 40,000 gold. We'll see how much that ticks up once they've killed the Baron off. The minion waves, actually a big one coming up top. Unfortunately, Hotshot, he's got 10 seconds left in the summoner teleport. There's the Baron drop down, 41.6. Now still the 5,000 gold advantage, but as we saw from Dignitas vs Fnatic, just the momentum of getting Baron and winning a fight, it was almost like the morale boost was worth more than the gold difference at that point, and these teams suddenly got these big surges of energy, and Moscow 5 have looked completely on point for the last 12 minutes here, and CLG, they almost look lost. They seem to have a great strategy here of, okay, poke the turret, poke the turret, poke the turret, 210 health left on it, and then they just stopped killing a turret with 2 attacks left on it, and they sort of didn't gank Baron with a 10,000 gold advantage, and then they started splitting off and getting caught. With the team with 2 global ultimates, by the way, where Nocturne and Ash can pretty much pick on anyone they want and enable a kill there, and I'm surprised CLG are normally so good at closing out games and so good at sort of ending these in situations where they know they have advantages, and they just don't look like themselves right now.
Yeah, so CLG, well, they've got to be careful, and they are going to back away. So they're going to say, Moscow 5, it's your turn to push. They do have all their inner turrets, so let's not get carried away here. They've got a long way to go, Moscow 5, to actually get in and take this one. They are going to go towards Dragon, and we've not seen CLG contest this. Even when they had the advantage in the team fights, that could have been a turning point. They could have gone towards contest that Dragon earlier on when they were all down in that push, and they said, no, we're going to let them have it. We're going to back away from it. And so Moscow 5 will pack that up, and you can see the gold is starting to close in. It's a 4K difference, which is not too great compared to, say, the 20k difference we saw with Dignitas against the Authority earlier on. Moscow 5 are just going to continue clearing the lane. St. Vicious is pushed up quite far, but he realises that Moscow 5 are a long way away from this one, so they're not too worried. Darian will probably head him off. So I'm not seeing Moscow 5 actually using a massive advantage here. They have to surely use the advantage of having Baron to actually try and turn the game for them. But instead, they are just fighting fires at the moment and keeping these lanes clear.
Yeah, and you can see kind of the map vision is sort of supports that, right? You can see how far along these minions are, into M5's sort of base. Only the bot lane really even close, and it's pretty much Hotshot freezing that one for a little while and actually whipping the minion kill, unfortunately. But yeah, Darian going to go ahead and try to. And it seems like both these teams really are just trying to clear these waves out and kind of get themselves more map control, take the bus for themselves. I know CLG wants to push them out so that they don't get pushed too quickly. They want to keep as many turrets up as possible. They've still only lost 1 the entire game, which is really, really good discipline as a team to not give up these pushes here. And I think the best thing for them would be to keep this map control and to keep themselves from losing any more global objectives. So even if they get aced in a really horrible team fight, there's no way Moscow 5 can push through 3 turrets and a Nexus. So CLG is doing a good job keeping the map kind of in their control.
So Clairvoyant is used to actually pick up their own blue buff there. So Genja will pick that up. Just looking towards CLG. They are doing the right thing here. They're just like, okay, they've got Baron. We're going to keep them occupied. We're going to keep these lanes pushed. St. Vicious going back towards the top. He's going to clear that out. We'll just see whether they're going to manage to catch on Hotshot. Is he going to try and protect this turret? Will they collapse around him? Does Darian and Diamonds think they can take him on the turret? I'm not convinced about this one. I think Hotshot might actually give up his tower. Yes, he will do. And they will manage to take it down. So one turret coming down. There's only a minute left on Baron. In fact, just less than that now. So this Baron buff is going to run out very soon. So Moscow 5 not really driving an advantage with us. I think they were just happy to get the Baron in the first place.
Yeah, I think they wanted that to kind of stem the tide. And the thing is, I think they do know they're down still in gold a little bit. And a 4,000 gold lead matters a whole lot. If you spawned with 4,000 bonus gold, you'd pretty much win immediately. But in a 35-minute game, 4,000 gold doesn't hurt quite so much anymore. And so I think they wanted to use that to sort of stop the bleeding and kind of regroup and say, look, our late game is ridiculous. We've got Vladimir Kennan. We have great AoE ultimates here. Nocturne going to keep scaling up as a bruiser. He did kind of go for a mid-game build by going for Wriggles plus Aegis, but now he's got the Chain Vest, the Phage. He's going to get probably that at Mallet build going. And he's going to get much scarier than St. Vicious is right now. And St. Vicious kind of, has a lot of power there. He's kind of offense focused. But Ash is getting scary as well. I mean, Moscow 5, I think they really want to kind of keep this game up for another few minutes and then say, okay, Baron's out. Okay, we're safe. CLG are definitely disciplined enough to not take a fight against Baron buff, and they've done that successfully so far. But now I think they want CLG to get a little bit confident, go for a push again, and then just open up with stuns and just fire down everything.
And it's the split push again. You can see that CLG 4 members running along the top lane. Meanwhile, Hotshot tries to go along the bottom, Darian heading him off. They will manage to get there in time to block it off, but remember there is only 210 health on that bottom turret, so it is quite open. Now Darian is actually heading north, away from Hotshot GG there, where he's just picking up the wolves. He's quite happy to cover that off, but Hotshot only needs to really get onto it. I think Diamonds, yeah, he's going to drift down there. I think they're going to try to get a cheeky gank on towards Hotshot here. He's just baiting him around, dodges out of the way of it. He's going to continue on. Here comes Diamonds. He's going to dive in. Hotshot's had to flash out. Diamonds follows him. Can he manage to get close enough to get the fear proc? No, he won't. They're going to react and go straight back towards the top lane. Remember, teleport is up now, so Hotshot could easily switch it up and say, right, I've pulled your two action here. I'm going to go straight up top and try and push on towards that tower. They're not going to go for it, though, and wisely so. So the standoff continues.
Yeah, but Diamonds actually and Darian both looping around the bottom side. CLG knows they need to be a little bit aware of this. The Ash Hawkshot does reveal that they know where CLG is. Hotshot still pushing up there. I think he's going to recall by and then push towards push back. No, he's actually staying in the rush and coming back for the push. He's really just trying to pull that aggression because, again, if Moscow 5 leaves him for 2 seconds, he'll get the turret. And an open hit means CLG gets the inhibitor for free. So Hotshot actually getting scared away by Darian. Darian's scaling throughout this game quite well. Has his death cap, has the Will of the Ancient, so those have been stacked now. And CLG, again, they still look a little bit lost here. It almost seems like this Hotshot GG split push, I don't think it's gonna work anymore. I think Vladimir is scary enough now. Yeah, I think it's past the point, like you say, it's past the point where it was viable, and now Darian's just quite happily to go 1v1 with him, just bully him away from that lane. Remember, he had like nearly a 50 CS advantage early on. It is very close now. Well, I'd say very close. It's still 60 CS, but in terms of builds, they're that far along in the gold. It doesn't actually make that much of a difference. You can see 12k on Hotshot. Meanwhile, you can see just 11k. Oh, and they're going to try and close on towards Hotshot. Remember, he doesn't have flash at the moment. The arrow is going to catch him. Oh, and he just turned round straight into it there. Has managed to get away with it. Will they manage to get a slow on him in time? Clairvoyance has been used. I think the volley shot might just about catch him in a moment. See Genja trying his best to close it down. He does. He just about catches on the backside of him. Now the slow is on, but Doublelift has come across to try and protect him, and Hotshot will get away with it. And now Moscow 5 really wanted to get that kill. Meanwhile, I think the Dragon probably is due shortly. And Moscow 5 continue to just pick up the gold advantage. They're trying their best to close it down. It's now only down to 3k, you can see, and they are slowly getting back into this game and looking actually pretty scary. Yep, absolutely the case. You can see the gold actually slowly creeping back into towards Moscow 5's favor. It's now about 3,500 instead of the 4,000 from before. So these antics back and forth have actually given Moscow 5 500 gold back, towards them. And I mean, theoretically, if they keep doing this for the next, 30 minutes or so, they'll have a gold lead. But CLG going to start clearing out wards, and they're actually going to pressure Baron, which makes actually a lot of sense here. They'll actually make them commit to a fight here, and Hotshot will almost definitely get the turret for free. And actually, yes, the entire team has actually left Hotshot alone, so if he can push in time, he can actually backdoor it if CLG knew all 5 were over there.
Yeah, and of course he can teleport in for a team fight if it was required. And Darwin is going to start off that Baron. They have cleared out the vision of it. CLG are pretty aware that it is happening. You can see the turret has gone down. He's now on the inhibitor. Will he come across and react? Just keep your eye on that teleport. Here it comes. CLG are going to make a move for this one. Hotshot is going to make his move in towards that tower. You can see Baron actually nearly picked up. They just need to finish it off. And Moscow 5 have picked up Baron now. Can they do anything with it? That's the question. Janna's Monsoon blasting all the way. Chowster will go down in this one. You can see Moscow 5 picking up kills left, right, and centre. Hotshot is now suddenly the focus. He's going to get caught by that Howling Gale. And Alex Witch will get that stun. Genja takes him down. And Moscow 5 are in the driving seat once again. Oh, the volley gets on towards Big Fat LP. He'll go down, and that was a 4-for-0 exchange from Moscow 5. They now have the gold advantage, oh, nearly.
Oh,
but wow, they have a massive advantage in terms of kills. You can see it's 10-10 in square, but wow, Moscow 5 have brought this one back from absolutely nothing. I think they were 6-7-1 down at one point.
Yeah, and geez, they're going to push and get another turret. This will be actually their gold lead happening for the first time. See 58.3 on both sides, and now 59,000. And they're going to go for another turret. They've got another 10 seconds of pretty much free time. And if they get greedy, they can go for the inhibitor too. It's going to be a little bit scary if they go for it. And they will go for this here. The inhibitor should fall, and they just got through all 3 outer turrets there on the left-hand side, got the inhib, and then ran away. Hotshot Big Fat still actually waiting to respawn. Doublelift still farming up his gold, but he's pretty much out of item space now. He's got pretty much 1 item left to go. That Vamp Theater can turn into a Bloodthirster. Oh my gosh, they could catch that. No, they didn't quite catch diamonds.
Yeah, they're just teleporting away in time. Darian picking up the Dragon as well. That's going to continue to drive that gold advantage to Moscow 5's favour. Both at 60k nearly, though. 42 minutes into this game. It has been a long one. And you know what? If Moscow 5 take it, it will be all over, because CLG have to pick up this win. And it's just, like you say, they seem to have just run out of ideas. When they had that advantage, they were like, okay, the split push is working. We're going to chip on this turret. We've got it to 210 health. Let's just go back. We don't need it.
Yeah, that made no sense to me. They did finally pick up that turret for themselves there, and if Hotshot had actually dropped a ward after he killed the turret, as though he had inventory slots for it, but if he had dropped the ward, he could have somehow teleported to it later, picked up the inhib at some later time in the game. Right now, CLG needs to wait out this Baron buff, and they need to rethink how they're going to win a team fight, because they don't have that same level of disruption that Moscow 5 has, where they can send Nocturne at Caitlyn and make Caitlyn run back. Chester runs in an ult, and they just Janna pop him, and they don't really care. And he's not scaring away anybody. And the same with Cho'Gath, where you can pretty much easily kite a Cho'Gath, and
they don't
not
have the damage either. They're lacking so much in the damage now compared to Moscow 5. Just look at the builds. I mean, you can see 2 Rapidons Death Cap there, double Willy the Ancients, Abyssal Scepter, Roilers. The 2 APs are very, very strong. Ash has caught up with Doublelift. Doublelift had a fantastic start, was miles ahead, but Ash has actually caught up with them. So now Moscow 5, they're going to continue driving forward. And this tower is not going to last long. I think they could probably tank it up.
Yeah, and Genja, of course, with a bunch of bonus armor. I mean, he could do it himself if he really wants to. Raptors coming out from Cho'Gath are pretty strong, but nope, this will be another turret kill. 7-6, the turret lead is still in CLG's favor, but not for long. It looks like they want to push for another turret here.
Yeah, so they're going to drive their way in there. You can see that, I think the next wave is got the Siege Minion. That's probably the one they're going to go for, actually. Catching the rupture there, Genja, but he's not too worried about it. Genja with that Guardian Angel as well. That's a big difference between him and Doublelift. So even if he gets targeted, he will easily just pop back up and be back in the fight. We expect to see the Monsoon probably follow, and they are going to go in towards the turret now. You can see Hotshot's actually tried to take his moment to get in there, did manage to get the silence across. Alex is just waiting for that one to run down. Darian did get caught out, the Ignite running on him while he pulls up. Oh, Ash Arrow going in, it caught the backside of Hotshot GG though. It was same vicious, they tried to get there, so a couple of ultis burned out, but Moscow 5 are still looking very good. They're not going to back away from this one, I don't think. CLG, are they going to switch it up? Yeah, they're going to go down towards the inner turret, and that's a wise move from Moscow 5. They'll just pick up another turret, and that will push their gold further in their favour. That's going to take it to a 5k gold advantage as they drive on in towards the bottom turret now. CLG have switched around. You can see Ari's just gone back, so Big Fat LP getting back in towards there. He's getting the health back. Doublelift is going to push forward. Can Moscow 5 get caught out here? They're going to try to go towards Darian. That's probably not the one to go for, and you can see actually Hotshot GG taken down very low. Does get stunned up. Will they manage to finish him off? No. Just about backing away from this one, and Moscow 5 continue to drive on towards that turret. And you know what? CLG are in a little bit of trouble here. You can see Hotshot now having to back away from it. I'd expect Moscow 5 to dive at any second.
Yep, they've already burned their Shurellias, which does hurt them a little bit, but Noxer now with his Atma is a very, very scary guy. 220 attack damage. His Ashe very close to a full build as well. 273. They've got that Zeke's Fervor on their Janna once again, so still relying on that even without that extra bruiser at top lane. And they're going to push in. The AoE's coming back everywhere. Hotshot going to land the Rupture. They're going to push in on Darian and Alex. Alex going to drop immediately now onto Diamonds. Diamonds down below half health. Genja's been exhausted. Chouster getting but it doesn't matter. They picked up 2 so far, and they're going to keep chasing. Ashe might actually try to pick up some free kills on herself. Doublelift a little bit afraid of her. They pick up 2 for 1 so far. Baron buff has timed out. Going to respawn in about 2 minutes from now. Genja running away pretty successfully here. And we'll see what CLG can do. They've stopped that bleeding. They won a team fight phenomenally. Great crowd control chains there. Killed that Kennen with no ultimate whatsoever. Moscow 5 so confident. Genja's going to steal blue buff. Even though they're down in players, they know where CLG are.
Yeah, they had to go back, and very well timed from CLG. The minute that Baron buff went out, they were straight on them, and it was a good catch from Hotshot GG as well. Managed to catch that Rupture underneath them, which launched their attack. So 12-11 in favour of kills for CLG, but the gold advantage you can see is back in Moscow 5's favour, has been for a while, and Genja teleporting back. You can see they've picked up a fair chunk of gold, 2,500 gold actually. Once he just sold and bought a BF sword, so he's building towards another Bloodthirst I would guess. You can see Janna also switching things around, has got that Zeke's in there, got the Shurelli's Reverie as well. But just look at Vlad's build. You can see Vlad with that Ryla's, Rabadon's Death Cap, Willie the Ancients, Void Staff. He is going to be hurting and mixed up with the stacked up, sorry, should I say, of Alex Ich. It's going to be a very scary combo. But they've not been able to initiate. That Ashe Arrow has just not been landing in the right place at the right time.
Yeah, hitting Shogath, unless he's 1v5, is not really getting them many kills there. There was an interesting thing they actually had a little while ago when they were in mid lane, as I think Darian did this on purpose. He got in there and got caught down to about a third health, and then troll pooled out, and they almost pulled the entire team into a really, really bad fight. But CLG did not take the bait, but that could have been a free, like, you know, Penta Kennen ult, but instead looks like Moscow 5 actually still feel like aggressing here, and I think this is the mistake that CLG made is, hey, we're winning, let's stop pushing. And whereas Moscow 5 looks like they are wanting to be on CLG's side of the map. They're waiting for Kennen to walk back across, of course. He's going to have Zonias pretty soon, and that's going to be even scarier. But it looks like Moscow 5 wants to keep pushing here to press their advantage instead of sort of split pushing.
Indeed. So we've had 2 Barons already go to Moscow 5. Are we going to wait out for another one, or are they actually going to try and push the advantage? They do see them in wards, though. And they thought about going for CLG there, but they've immediately backed away from it. You can see the multicoloured angles of CLG. They are all stacked up, triple potion, I believe. Quite a few of these at the moment. At least triple or double. Baron has respawned. Moscow 5 are going to go in towards it. CLG are going to react as well. They don't have any coverage of it. You can see they have no idea, but they realise it is there. Darian is actually going to catch them out. Will he manage to get his ulti across them? It's Hotshot GG they're going for. Probably not the best target. Alex Ich will dive towards it. Doublelift popped in seconds there. Will just about get away. No, he's not going to be getting away from that one, though. St. Vicious will go down, and that was a clean sweep from Moscow 5 in record speed, I think. And they didn't even bother with Baron. You know, just going to drive in towards the base. I believe Moscow 5 are going to be meeting Dignitas in the finals, and what an incredible turnaround from Moscow 5.
Oh man, yes, they are going for this turret right now. The inhibitor going to fall, and that's going to be a straight dive for the next. You can see them actually walking in between attacks to get there sooner. They cannot end this game fast enough. I can't believe they even made this comeback. That was phenomenal from them, but there is one turret. They pop the Shurelli just for fun, and the second turret now going to go down. Moscow 5 will take this semifinal. Excellent job by them. GG, you can see them standing up there, super happy about this one.
So it's going to be 3rd and 4th place player coming up with after this. That's going to be Against All Authority versus CLG. So 3rd place is still a lot of money involved in this. Remember, it's a $100,000 tournament here at the Intel Extreme Masters World Championships. But Moscow 5 there will be facing Dignitas in the finals. And you know what? Moscow 5 wanted Dignitas in the finals. So they, you know, we think we play better against American teams. They were fearful of Against All Authorities. They've got what they wanted. It's been another 2-0 clean sweep as well, which is kind of surprising because CLG coming into this tournament, you know, Big Fat LP was playing fantastic, but he just got focused so heavily at the start. I wonder if that first game really knocked him off his game.
I don't know. I think he played a really, really good mid-game here on Ahri. I don't think he really got caught out in really stupid places. I think he partially also enabled that almost comeback kill on Kennen by landing a charm there. But I think it was more a team sort of failing there by CLG. I think they had game 2 in the bag. Their initial strategy with those early pushes was really, really smart, and they could have kept pushing that bottom turret up to the inhibitor and capitalizing there. You know, again, I'm not quite sure why they gave up on that one. even still, they all farmed really well. Double lift at 16.9 thousand, 15K on Hot Shot, but they seem to just run out of steam late game, which is why I'm surprised that they said, hey, we're winning, let's do something else.
So and do you think it's like the fact that they just stuck to the old school method of many cards coming up behind us, the old school method of just hot shot split pushing? It's what they've always done. Do you not think it's time to go, we're going to have to change our meta here?
Maybe it's that North American teams don't run Ashe very often, so they're not used to what kind of things catch them out. This is really one of the first times we've ever seen a team just ban junglers in a row.
Yeah.
And normally you don't see first pick Nocturne that often. Most teams don't run them very, very much, nor do most teams run Ashe very often, especially in North America. And so I don't think they're just used to hey, hot shot split push is going to get caught. And so I think that was kind of a feeling of them not quite being as prepared as they could be. But we're going to hear it from their mouths. We have interviews ready on the stage.
Hey guys, here we are on the main stage. Hotshot GG and Alex Ish from CLG and Moscow 5. An absolute nail-biter second game that almost brought it to a third. Hotshot, you guys were able to somewhat thwart what happened the first game with the same picks and bans. One targeted at Darian, somewhat also towards the jungler as well. You also got out Shyvana and Lee Sin, so Diamond couldn't have those. What was the idea behind that, and why do you guys think it worked better the second game?
Well, it wasn't really that changed things between the first and second game. The first game they really outpicked our bottom lane, and literally that snowballed the whole game, and we lost from bottom. We got crushed. And then second game we were winning so hard, and I got caught with an arrow and a Nocturne ulti, and then they got a Baron. And before that, yeah.
Right on. Alex, you guys played an incredible first game. You came out very strong. How much did you guys use that momentum to come into the second game?
The second game was like the most hard game in 2 months for me, I think. It was really nervous. It was just one mistake, and it cost a lot. So we just felt that they will swap the lanes. So we predicted that. But then they swapped that again, and they got teleport, they got Nunu buff, so they got advantage in that. That gave them huge advantage with like 2 or 3 towers. And then they were just snowballing that advantage a lot. And then Hotshot got teleport, so they were just pushing us all around. And the only our choice was like going in mid-late game and catching on the mistakes with the arrow. That's what we did when we caught, and then we got Nasher.
What is your mentality during that when you know the other team has quite a snowball going, they're very strong, you need to turtle a little bit? What's the best advice you can give in that instance for anybody during that situation?
To be honest, I myself is pretty bad at these situations, so it's about my team. We're like in mood, like we can do this, we will do this. So.
Awesome. Hotshot. What is CLG taking away from this? You guys have played amazing games all weekend long. You showed very strong. Moscow 5, obviously a top contender as well as you guys. What will you guys do different next time? A little more homework, a little more practice. Where do you think what it all comes down to?
We definitely need more heroes in our lineup. We're really restricted in our lineup. And Voyboy picked up Lee Sin right before, and he like unlocked the secret. Lee Sin is like, no one in EU really knows how to play against it. I don't really know how to play against it. I just ban it. And he clean sweeped everybody with Lee Sin, so I need to learn Lee Sin. And our bottom lane needs to learn a few more heroes too, so.
Right on. Do you have any shout outs to your fans, sponsors, last things to say?
Yeah, shout out to our sponsors, Razer and Own TV. You guys are awesome. Shout out to the fans. Thanks for watching the streams. Thanks for watching everybody's streams. Thanks for supporting League of Legends. We really appreciate it. And shout out to my grandma and my grandma.
Same to you. The fans want to hear what you have to say. Yep. Fans want to hear what you have to say back at home, mom, dad, anything.
Thanks to everyone watching us. Thanks to our fans. Thanks to Moscow 5 organization. I want to say hello to my parents. Hello to Nasha. Hello to the chat that I'm sitting in. And to everyone else. Thanks that you're cheering us up. That was awesome.
Right on. Moscow 5 moving on to take on Dignitas. CLG to face off against All Authority. Right now we're going to head to Alin in the crowd for a little bit of a contest.
Hey, what's up, you guys? I am in the audience here at the Intel Extreme Masters World Championship. That was an exciting match, wasn't it, you guys?
Yeah!
And I understand you, my friend, are a huge Moscow 5 fan. How does it feel to have your favorite team win this semifinals match?
It's amazing, amazing match. It was really close. I like to play. I'm a huge fan of Moscow 5 since the tournament in Kyiv, and I just love how Alexei plays mid.
Very nice. And do you think they have what it takes to to win the whole championship?
I hope so, and I think so. Because they just showed their skills. They were behind. Everyone was thinking they were gonna lose, and they just turned it around and fucked them up.
All right, well, we'll just have to tune in tomorrow for the grand finals, and we'll see. And also at 2:50, we will have a raffle for an Alienware laptop, and after that will be the third place matches. So you guys stay tuned, and we will see you guys in a little bit.